Morning, everybody. You can't step on my headsets, Kat. That makes it hard. Just saying. Yep. You get the tail. That's all you get. She's very shy. That is a tail. That's it. I get about on a good day. That was a big day for me. I got about maybe 90 seconds, maybe. And she's done. She does the first hour with me. But then at 7, we have an automatic feeder, which goes off at 7:24, 7:26, something like that. And she will sit in front of that feeder for 30 minutes and stare at it as if, maybe it's going to come out early. But the other cat doesn't, Dad. We've got 2 cats, and they're from the same litter. They're brother and sister. The other one, when the noise goes off, he charges. This one, she's there. She is definitely the hunter. She knows when the food comes out. Well, I was supposed to have Trent, but in the fashion of a young man, they don't always wake up. I'll get to that in a minute, Dad. I don't want to have to repeat myself. No offense to the gang, but I'm going to do this once.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Good morning, everyone. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to Miller and Moulton. Hope your day's off to a good start. We'll do our best to keep it that way. Solid show lined up for you this morning. We are starting to talk football on a regular basis, and we will do so today. Magic numbers, by the way, 37 and 48. Huh? How about that? We can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. If I'm talking now, you know what that means. That means David's not here. And well, this week was supposed to be a very celebratory week because I am still hopeful that my co-host will be with us tomorrow on what would be the 20th anniversary of David and I doing a show together. But I don't know. I truly don't know. Yesterday, if you do not know, I don't know how at this point, if you're listening at 6 a.m., but if you do not know, in September, October, I was diagnosed with cancer. I have leukemia. I went up to Moffitt. Things are going extremely well for me. Am I all the way through this yet? Hell no. But things at this point are going damn near as well as they could. Yesterday, I had to go up for a little procedure, I think more precautionary than anything else. My doctor leans that way, and I love him for it. And I, unfortunately, for probably 30 minutes on the ride up and another 30 minutes on the ride back, I was on the phone with David's wife. David had a kidney removed about 6 years ago. And he's told this story. I'm not telling anything out of school. And I might tell a few things out of school. And I've not done that at all, ever. What David tells me and what David says about his personal life on the air has always been his business. And we have shared quite a bit about our lives over the past 20 years. But David had a kidney removed and it was cancerous. And this was 6 years ago. And the joke on the show was David had cancer for 6 days because he had extreme pain. He went to the hospital. They found out what it was. They removed his kidney. Cancer gone. Or so we thought. About a year and a half ago, it came back and David never said anything. And David grinded through a football season last year in a lot of pain. David worked with Gary Danielson in his last year and then worked Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman that he's been doing now for about 10 years. And David found out that his cancer had returned. And he didn't say anything because, quite frankly, he was able to do the show every day. And it wasn't a problem to the show. And in his mind, there was no need to say anything about it. When I came forward with my diagnosis, it was mainly because I was going to Moffitt Cancer Center and I didn't think I'd be able to do the show. Amazingly enough, the folks at Moffitt not only let me do the show, but they encouraged me to do the show and were helpful while I did the show from the hospital for 20 plus days. And then another 71 days at the Hope Lodge next to Moffitt in Tampa. If I would have known that, I don't know if I would have come forward with my diagnosis. I did so because disappearing for a while without an explanation, I didn't think was fair to the audience. You guys have been, mostly great to us. Sometimes you come at us pretty damn hard, and that's all right too. But a few weeks back, David got a little more sick, and he was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. Well, when he came back from that, he explained that his cancer's back. And if you've been watching or listening to the show, you've heard his voice grow weaker. If you watch the show on YouTube or Twitch, it's impossible not to see the pain that David's been in. And the last few weeks when David's been doing the show, and probably the last few months, during the commercial breaks, we would always kind of talk to the Twitch and YouTube audience. And David did the majority of that for a couple of years, more than me. Well, I've been taking over that because David, quite frankly, can't. And he would go from doing the show to laying down for the entire commercial break. And then he would come back and suck it up and do the show really well. Yesterday was the first day, and David missed Tuesday. Monday, David left the show after 2 hours. He was in an extraordinary amount of pain. And he left the show at 8. We were texting because we don't share sometimes the bad things that are going on because the Twitch audience is here. And it's either sometimes none of your business, not to be rotten, but it's not. And other times it's personal. So David and I text David on Monday. I'm like, if you can't do the show, I'll finish. And he said, I think I'm going to the hospital. Well, he didn't go to the hospital, but he went to an outpatient facility and they put him on some new pain meds. And that pretty much knocked him out Tuesday. And I texted a little bit with David, a little bit more with his wife. Well, yesterday after the show, she sent me a text and she was quite concerned. And I was driving to Tampa, as I'd mentioned. So I called and said, hey, it's a lot easier for me to talk. And we talked for a while about a lot of things, mainly David, and a lot about this show and how much tomorrow means to him. Sorry. But I don't know. I really and truly don't know if David will do the show tomorrow. I have no idea. I have this gut feeling that he's going to suck up every bit of energy that he has
to give us 4 hours tomorrow. I really don't know beyond tomorrow how much more we'll have from David on this show. I don't even always believe in this stuff, but whatever it is you buy into, you are a faithful person, then I ask for your prayers. If you are not, I ask for the most positive vibes you can send his way, because he needs them all. This is not good. I am very, very fearful for what's going on with David right now. I can't emphasize how serious this is. I'm an only child, and so is David. He is probably, I have some really good friends that I've had for 40 years, but he's as close to a brother as I've got. And he's taught me a lot. I hope I've taught him some over the years, but he's taught me a lot about this business, about how to do a show. And if you guys allow me and our sponsors allow me, I won't let this show go away. And I think I've tried to work hard in the last few months to get better at my craft, because inevitably I knew what was going on. I just didn't know when. And I didn't think it was going to happen quite so damn fast. But it is very serious. It is a situation that I doubt he would want me to share this much, but at this point, I don't give a damn. I think you are owed what's going on because you've been so loyal to us. And for those of you that are in Huntsville and Jacksonville and Tampa, in Connecticut and Lake City, and we've been on Lake City for a while now. Port Charlotte, we've been on a while now. But I apologize for the emotion, and I hope you understand. But like I said, today and tomorrow were supposed to be a celebration. We'll do our best to make it that. You guys listen to, for us to lighten you up a little bit, to make the mood a little bit better, to not be so damn serious in a very serious and effed up world in a lot of ways. So I'll do sports the rest of the show, I promise. We've got a great show. Matt Baker is going to join us from SEC meetings. Pat Kirwan's going to join us. And Trent's going to be with me for the rest of the show. It looks like the kid's up and out of bed. So good for him. Good for us, because it would have been a hell of a struggle to do this alone today for 4 hours. But again, my gut tells me, for whatever reason, because David's one tough son of a bitch, that David's going to do the show tomorrow. If I were to bet, I think it'd be about plus 320 that David does the show tomorrow. I'd lay the money and take the odds. I just would. I know him that well, and I know what tomorrow means. So if there's any way that he can do it, he will do it. That being said, like I said earlier, your prayers, your good vibes, your positive thoughts, whatever it is, we'll take them. We need them. That's all there is to it. So Miller and Moulton, we'll come up with a poll question. We'll do the things we do. We've got magic numbers to talk about. The Rays have won 3 in a row. The Marlins may never win another game. The Red Sox finally lose. The doubleheader jinx gets them. A couple of splits yesterday. For those of you that tried to argue with me a day ago that splits don't happen that often. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So we'll get to some baseball. Summerall spoke yesterday, said some fun things, got a little serious, got a little angry. I'm curious, Gator fan, if you liked it, because right now you're buying in. We all buy in until they start losing. Or if they don't lose, we're all in. Don't you dare have your phone on ring when you're at one of his press conferences. That's all I know. He'll throw a podium at you. More on that coming up. We'll talk about mistakes from a PR department. And like I said, my young friend Trent Bally, former producer, and who knows, he may be running shotgun with me sooner than later. And much as I love him, that sucks. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there, buddy. And F cancer. It's about all I got to say about that. I'll regroup. We'll be back in a minute. Miller and Moulton.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Buying or selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Mark.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. God bless you.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. I know, but yeah, that was very well said. I'll leave it at that. Sorry I couldn't be with you from the jump, but I almost think that was better the way it worked out.
Now let's do a sports show.
Yeah.
I text Felipe yesterday and we talked.
Okay,
And,
good.
And I, like I said, I if David can, he'll do the show tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I told Felipe, I said, you're coming on. And all we're talking about, I said, I don't give a damn about your job. I don't care about your car. You are going to update people on landing a plane. He got a pretty good laugh. He got a pretty good laugh out of that.
I'm sure he loved that. Yeah. Boy.
Yeah, I was worried. You didn't answer me last night. You didn't answer me this morning. I'm like, well,
Well, if I can be honest, my cousin passed away
oh,
yesterday.
Jesus.
Yeah,
You've had a hell of a
really,
week.
yeah, really unexpectedly. So
I'm
I was
sorry.
dealing with a lot of that. He was 41, I think, 42.
Mom's side, dad's side.
Mom's side. So I've been dealing with that. Not even like dealing with it, just, like talking to people and stuff. And probably drank a little bit too much last night, one of those deals. So
no, I don't.
I apologize.
I want to know. I want to know what that is. I can't wait to drink too much.
Yeah, wait, you haven't been able to, right?
No.
Oh.
I forgot about that, Doug. That's pretty funny too. That's another good one. That's right up there with landing the plane, Doug. You're right. I had completely forgot about that.
I know that one. I wasn't even there for that. But Philly told me that story. Oh,
Yep.
That's funny. Oof. LeBron's going to Miami, by the way.
It looks that way.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to get to right here.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
I got to be honest. I really got to work on these rejoiners. That's on me. So we'll do our best there to fix some of this stuff.
That's the easy stuff.
No, I know, but I don't pay any attention to it, to be brutally honest with you. And that's number one. That's rejoiner number one, everyone. I probably need to remove that one for the time being.
Listen, I'm only laughing because I know how this goes in the radio business. It's tough. It's tough to stay up to date and have something uniform that can run every single day.
There's no such animal. There's no such animal.
There's not.
All right. We got through that. We're going to move on. But was it a mistake? That's the question. Because a couple of days ago, and we didn't talk about it yesterday. One of the dynamics when David and I do the show, we used to, hey, what do you want to talk about next? Well, as I mentioned, David hasn't been with me in a commercial break now for months. David lays down. He comes back. And then he talks about whatever the hell he wants to talk about. And I follow along. And that's the God's honest truth. This show has never been planned out. One time, I think, and in fact, I think it may have been this guy. Because we've done hundreds of interviews with some incredibly big names over the years. And we were lucky enough very early on to have on the great Ernie Harwell, who was a hero of mine, the longtime Tiger announcer. And we didn't do it for that. We had Magic Johnson on, another hero of mine. We didn't do it for that. But I want to say when we had this guy on as a young kid, David said, what is it you want to ask? And that's about as much pre-planning as we've ever done. And I'm not kidding. In 20 years, that we've always, and I think we're pretty good interviewers. I think it's one of our strong suits. And here's the thing I've told people about doing interviews when they ask. It's amazing, but there's one thing you need to do. Listen, 90% of the time, your guest will lead you to what the next question is. The one thing David's always done in the past, a lot of people came on because they were pimping something, whatever it was. We got a lot of guests over the years. And since today's 48, and we'll get to this guy in a minute, we had Moose Johnson on many years ago. And I think Moose was hawking that holy guacamole. And David has said, and we had a bunch of people hawking a different thing. And Dave says, hey, when these guys are hawking whatever it is, I get it out of the way now. First questions about whatever it is they're hawking, because a lot of the time,
because then they open up, right?
Well,
like
not only do they open up, but they usually have someone sitting next to them, from that company or an agent who is going to make sure they're going to talk about what it is they want to talk about.
So please them and then move on with the interview.
You get that person will then walk away. They're done. They don't care. They heard their product get talked about. And then the athlete will typically open up more. And the Moose Johnson and I have a mutual friend, a guy that I'm still in contact with, by the way, another cancer survivor, Jim Blinko. David did our show from Blinko's Sports Bar in Raleigh many times when he was traveling for FGCU. So David knows Blink. And Jim and Moose were good friends in high school. And so we have Moose on, and I said to him right off the hop, I said, you and I have a mutual friend. And he's like, whatever, radio guy. Like, I need to hear this from you. We don't know any of the same people. You could hear it in his voice. And I said, Blinko sends his best. And he stopped and he said, you know the big pig. And Moose was great. But typically you don't have something like that. So Moose Johnson Day, we're 48 away from the NFL. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit. But the guy that I'm referring to, that I believe that's the case, and I wish David was here to either tell me I'm right or wrong, but way back when, we had LeBron on the show, a young LeBron. He was doing some promotion where you could play horse against him.
What year?
Oh, God. This is before he was ever, this is young LeBron. This is Cavs 1.0. Like, this is.
So it couldn't have been any earlier than 2010.
Well, we've been doing the show 20 years.
Yeah.
So that sounds about right. We were out in the afternoons in Southwest Florida only at that point.
You guys had LeBron James on the show. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
And that's not even, to me, in our top 5, if you want to know the truth. And he was fine. He was a young kid. I'll take Magic over LeBron. And Magic's not a better player. Magic's a bigger star, I would argue.
A bigger draw?
A bigger star worldwide. Maybe that's close now. LeBron's probably past him. But when we had LeBron, he wasn't. He was young.
At the time, I got you. Yeah.
Barry Sanders, too. I'll put him ahead of LeBron. Just say that.
Okay.
I'm throwing a Spartan and a Lion at Trent, and I put him in a soft spot. But back to LeBron. So 2 days ago in the evening, the Miami Heat on their YouTube page put up I don't know if it was a video or a banner, because I didn't see it. It was gone quickly. That said, LeBron James press conference, July 27th.
Yep.
They immediately ripped it down when approached by several media outlets, including ESPN. They simply said that PR department made an error. They're hopeful that they get him. And I will say this, that PR department has probably done all of the work. And I'm guessing Cleveland has, I'm guessing Philly, I'm guessing everything is set to press send if LeBron chooses them.
Right.
My question to you, Philly, to you, Trent, Philly maybe tomorrow. Boy, I'm mixing you two up. It's going to be a rough day. All right. My question to you is, was it a mistake?
Well, it was a mistake to post it, yes.
Yeah,
but I definitely think that the Miami Heat believe and should believe that they have as good a chance as anybody left in the game.
That's not what I'm asking you, Trent. They are the odds-on favorite right now. If you want to bet on it, Miami's even money. I know they're the odds-on favorite. Do you
Yeah.
think it's a done deal?
Yes.
That
I do.
there you go. There
And I
you
think
go.
we might find out today, and it would be awesome if we found out today, because then tomorrow we can talk about it. Yeah, LeBron's going to be back with the Miami Heat. Like
And-
I'm ready to go there.
By the way, I don't know. I've said it before. I don't look at. He's old. He's still really good. I get it.
Yes.
But I don't. I think in 1986 that Bam, Giannis, and LeBron could have won a championship. I think in 2026, I don't think that threesome's enough to win a championship. I don't even think it's enough to get out of the East.
There's no question that shooting is going to be their biggest problem, especially Mark, because in this previous deal, getting rid of a guy like Tyler Hero, I mean that is he's one of the best shooters in the league, let alone the best shooter on your team. So they're going to have to address that. There's no doubt. But I think if you have Giannis, Bam, LeBron, you figure it out. You will figure it out.
Let me ask you this question. If I were to put an over-under on games played for Giannis at 52.5.
I was going to say 50.
Where are you going?
I'll go over, but only because I like the guy.
Right. Realistically, I don't know how you could. And I'm not being a jerk. I would go under. I might go under by a lot. Now,
and I get why you're going there, because I was going to say 50 before you said your number. I think he's definitely at the point where he only plays the games that really, really, really matter, and he only plays the games that matter to him, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
like,
but he gets hurt. It's not whether they matter or not. He has been injured a lot. You know, he's what, 33 or something like that. He's an old 30, however old he is. He's old for that age. You know, LeBron's 41. LeBron's actually starting to break down a little bit. He's missing games because of injury. You know why? He's 41. I mean, it's amazing he's still playing. Bam's a rock. I got you. But I just don't know if that style is what it takes. I don't think they're all not, you know, Giannis and LeBron aren't the defenders they used to be. Bam's a great defender, but I just worry about that team being able to score enough. Miller and Moulton, the starting five is next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sonny, I love how you lead. Love him.
You can hear that, right, Trent?
Say what?
Can you hear the audio?
No.
Huh.
Wait, you mean like the show opens and stuff?
No, right now when I'm playing.
No, I can't hear it.
All right. Well, that sucks.
Paula, drive safe. Always got love for you, Paula.
I understand why Paula listens to us now. She can't handle Detroit radio. All they do is bash Michigan.
Well,
Trust me.
yeah.
I mean, you should be thanking me for how nicely I treat that university. The way they're getting treated in Detroit, they're getting obliterated. At least the stuff I see on X, they get just and deservedly so. I'm not surprised.
They suck. The brass there sucks. Not good
Look,
people.
you gotta-
no, Mark, I'm serious though. You know I'm not just doing this because I'm a smarty.
But
bad
bro,
people.
But I'll tell you what, really, we allowed Nasser on that campus for a decade. Okay, what's worse? Cheating on your wife, a car getting crashed, a little mental abuse, or sexual abuse of hundreds of people?
It's all bad. The
Michigan
problem,
State can't say a thing to Michigan. Not a damn thing.
and I'm not saying they can. It's all bad. I got it. It's just Michigan State airs it out. They move on.
They didn't air it out.
Michigan
They
tries
did
to
it.
cover it up. Michigan tries to
State
cover
tried to cover it up too. That's bullcrap.
at first.
Oh, what's the difference?
It's been 10 years, Mark. You know what I mean. It's
They tried to
Michigan's
keep
always the
everybody.
victim. Always the victim.
Well, they're not the victim. They just are transparent. And Michigan State wasn't either. That's not even close. That board was gross. They were
I know.
negligent and they should have gone to jail.
Yes, they should have.
And what
You're right.
Michigan State did was worse.
And I got you, and that's the difference. I'm with you. I got you. I think most alums would agree with you. With Michigan, it's how do we cover this up? How do we lighten the damage? It's awful. Ugh. What? What's that look for, Mark?
We're coming back on. I just think
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
oh, it's mixed down 3. I thought it was mixed down 1. What do I know? I got to figure out my own show. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Podcast up in all the usual places. Trent filling in this morning. If you didn't hear the open, I will quickly review what I went over, and that is that David is out today. I am hoping, praying, doing everything I can do to think David's going to do the show tomorrow. And trust me, as I said earlier, I don't think the odds are on it, but if I were to bet, I would bet on David doing the show. Somehow I think David's going to suck it up. And I'm very fearful that when he does the show, it may be the last one he ever does with us. I really am. That's where I'm at right now. I hope to God I'm wrong. And I don't know what else to say other than if you pray for him. If you don't pray, send some good vibes his way. That's all I can ask, because the situation's extremely serious at this point. When I'm speaking to his wife more than I'm speaking to him, there's a problem. And I love his wife. She's a great lady. We all get along. My wife, his wife, the four of us all get along very well. We never spend a whole lot of time together because life and different things going on. But they're up in Jacksonville, and she's doing the best she can. But she let me know this morning that he can't do the show, and that's why Trent's here. So we'll go from there, and we'll keep on keeping on. In the meantime, time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Let's start with college football, shall we? SEC Media Days. John Summerall made his debut on the podium and brought some high intensity, and he's already got a bit of a viral moment because a reporter's phone rang during his press conference in which he told the reporter he'd kick him out of a team meeting, and he wanted to throw the podium at him. The outrage on the internet over the comment is laughable. Best thing that I saw was like, your outrage for not being there is fantastic. Everybody in the room laughed hysterically. But he did say that the current quarterback battle has a long way to go before camp. He also stressed that neither quarterback needs to step in and try to be the next Tim Tebow. Instead, he expects them to manage the game effectively, operate the line of scrimmage cleanly, and protect the football while leaning on the team's strong skill position talent. Today's the final day of SEC Media Days. Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, and Texas will all talk. LSU, that means Lane. Ole Miss talked yesterday, and their head coach said something along the lines of, it's the X you always know is there about Lane. Well,
how would you feel right now, Mark, if you were an Ole Miss Rebels fan? How would you feel? Just give me a few words.
Well, I'd probably look at my beautiful wife, my bank account that has a couple of comments in it, sip a cocktail, and tell everybody to go to hell.
So not great.
No, I'd look at it. Are you kidding me? I've been saying, this. People don't understand the money Ole Miss has. The people that I know from Ole Miss are incredibly wealthy. I wouldn't mind being an Ole Miss alum. By the way, the line at Ole Miss before this, little run of good football, we don't produce a lot of All-Americans, but we do produce quite a few Miss Americas. All right. So
okay. That answers my question.
To baseball we go. The Rays made it 3 in a row as they beat Toronto 4-2. Griffin Jax 6 effective innings, and they clinched the 4-game series. Jax allowed 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 walk with 5 Ks to help the Rays win their 3rd in a row. Brian Baker pitched a perfect 9th, earning his 26th save of the season. Victor Mason Jr. had 2 RBI singles for the Rays. The Rays now 8-1 against the Jays this season. Yandy Diaz. This is an inning this is all Tampa Bay. Diaz gets to second base on an error. Takes 3rd on a single by Caminero. Mullins hit by a pitch to load the bases. Simpson, a sacrifice to center, and they score. And then Mesa, the RBI single to left. And then another walk to force in a run. They manufacture runs. It's what the Rays do. What the Marlins do is lose. Jordan Alvarez hit his 34th home run of the season in the 8th. That broke a tie with his 2-run shot that lifted the Astros to a 5-2 win and a 3-game sweep. Alvarez homered for the 3rd time in the series. He leads the majors in that category. Jeremy Pena hit an opposite field home run in the game as well. His 3rd of the series. Alcantara pitched well until giving up the home run from Alvarez. He entered the 8th with 97 pitches, and he was in control. He had just allowed that home run to Pena in the 3rd, but Alcantara ends up with the loss. Double dip with Boston and Baltimore. Boston gets game 1. Rafael homered. Jalen Duran drove in 3 runs, and the Red Sox tied a franchise record, winning their 15th in a row, 6-3 in the first game of the doubleheader. Caleb Duran had a 2-run single, and Duran had a 2-run triple in a 4-run first inning. Game 2, Baltimore scored 4 in the first, and their starter, Kyle Brandish, delivered 6 strong innings to end the winning streak. Boston still won 20 of their last 23. Baltimore's now won 8 of their last 10. The Red Sox lead Seattle by 2 games for the final wild card spot. Double dip in the Bronx. Game 1 went 10 innings. The Pirates win 5-3 in game 1 of the doubleheader as Jared Triolo hit a single with 1 out in the 10th to drive in 2 and help the Pirates to the victory. The Pirates have won 9 of their last 13 heading into that game. Jacob Gonzalez hit a 2-run homer off of Garrett Cole in the 5th.
If it weren't for the Boston Red Sox, the Pirates might be the hottest team in baseball.
Ben Rice in that first one hit a game-tying 3-run homer. He now has 30 on the season. Game 2, the Yanks do what they do. They pitch. Max Fried back, pitched 5 innings of 1-hit ball. 4 relievers finished the shutout for the Yanks as Jason Dominguez and Anthony Volpe helped drive in a run each. 2-0 Yanks. Milwaukee, a 4-3 win over the Mets. Joey Ortiz had a 2-run double. He had 3 hits and scored twice in the 1-run victory for Milwaukee. Christian Yelich, an RBI single in a 3-run second inning. He also scored a run on a triple in the 6th for the Brewers. Logan Henderson allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, matched a career high with 9 Ks and 5. Kansas City, a 5-4 win over San Francisco. Salvador Perez hit a 2-run home run. It highlighted a 5-run 7th inning as Kansas City rallied for the win. With that home run, Perez matches George Brett's club record of 317 home runs.
George Brett, is that guy any good?
You've actually heard of him. I'm impressed.
Yes, I have. No, but anytime you get mentioned with someone in that company, it's
no doubt. No doubt.
Factor.
Washington, 8 spit over Colorado. Luis Garcia homered. Cade Cavaglia tossed 6 strong innings, and the Nats beat Colorado in the rubber game of the series. The Nationals entered the game leading the majors in runs, RBIs, and home runs. Not bad.
Not bad.
Arizona pounded the Athletics 15-5, their best game of the season at the plate. They won the rubber match in the 3-game series. Each of the starters reached base. 9 Diamondback batters had hits, and the team posted its season high in runs, hits, and home runs, of which they had 5. James McBain hit his 100th career homer in the 5th inning, and Ryan Walschmidt hit his first ever Major League home run in the win. Sal Stewart, a go-ahead 3-run homer in the 7th as the Reds defeat the host Mariners 5-3 Wednesday afternoon. J.J. Bleday also went deep. Brady Singer pitched 6 2/3 as the Reds take 2 of 3 from Seattle, knocking the Mariners out of first place in the AL West. The Twins, behind a 3-run homer and 4 RBIs from Brooks Lee, snapped their 4-game losing streak with a 10-6 win over the Guardians. Lee's 3-run shot happened in the 4th when Minnesota scored 4 times to take a 7-3 lead in the game. 7-time All-Star Jose Ramirez had 2 hits, drove in 2 runs, and scored once in his return from a broken bone. He had been on the IL since fracturing his wrist on June 13th when he did that against the Tigers. Max Muncy hits a go-ahead home run in the 6th inning. Dalton Rushing and Tommy Edman each drove in 3 runs as the Dodgers defeat the Phillies 9-5. Freddie Freeman and Edman each had 3 hits for LA. Alec Boehm and Brian De La Cruz hit home runs for the Phillies, who have now lost their 2nd consecutive home series after the break. The Phillies trail the Braves by 4 in the NL East. Speaking of the Braves, rookie Jim Jarvis helped a 6th-run 8th-inning rally with an RBI double, and the Braves hung on to defeat the Padres 7-6. Crazy series because they had a 10-9 game to start that series.
Yes.
The Braves sent 11 men to the plate in that 8-inning rally. They led 7-1 entering the 9th. The Padres scored 5 times, but they needed 6 to tie it. Ty France had to come in and end the game and earning his 20th save. Hey, you Lee. Hi. How do you say? Hi.
How you Lee?
How you Lee? That's right. Sorry. How you Lee? That's such a great name. 3-run home run. And Kyler Montero propelled the Tigers. I almost said the Wings. 5-1 win over Chicago. The Tigers had a 4-true road trip. They took 2 or 3 from the Angels, 2 or 3 from the Cubs after the All-Star break. Lee's home run broke a 1-1 deadlock in the 4th. Tigers pitching did the rest. Spencer Torkelson hit his 19th home run on the season. The White Sox keep doing what they do, 4-2 over the Rangers. Chase Midroff went 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Andrew Benintendi added 2 hits and 2 RBIs as the White Sox win the series. It is their 3rd straight series victory, and they now have a 1-game lead over Cleveland in the AL Central. St. Louis, a 1-0 shutout over the Angels. J.J. Weatherholt hit a home run, and 4 St. Louis pitchers combined on a 7-hitter as the Cards salvaged the final game of the 3-game series in Anaheim. The Dolphins and linebacker Jordan Brooks agreed to a 3-year, $51 million extension, $35 million guaranteed. That's the 3rd key Dolphin in their eyes to receive a multi-year extension this offseason. Brooks is now the 6th highest paid inside linebacker in the NFL in terms of total contract value and average annual value. The GM, John Eric Sullivan, signed Achane, center Aaron Brewers, and Brooks. Took care of all 3 this offseason. Yesterday, the Chiefs unveiled the first renderings of their new stadium that's scheduled to open for the 2031 season. PGA Tour, they're in Minnesota for the 3M. Scotty Scheffler headlining the field. The British Senior Open is underway this weekend. And in Live Golf, the big story is they're playing this week in England, but Martin Kamer told Ben Carsons of Today's Golfer, based on limited information team captains received in a meeting, he was highly likely that the season finale in Michigan would get canceled, giving it a 5% chance of happening. U.S. Junior Amateur Charlie Woods chunked a chip in a playoff. May not have all been his fault. During his shot, a camera phone went off. You could hear the shutter go off during his shot while he was trying to chip his 3rd. He ended up making bogey on the hole. It was a 14 for 2 playoff that knocked him out of the match play portion of the tournament. WNBA, there were 6 games last night. I'll tell you about one. Caitlin Clark picked up her 7th technical in a big win as the Fever beat Connecticut 123-88. Her 7 tees are tied for the most in the league with Angel Reese. Kind of funny how you hate the one and you love the other, and they tied for the lead in tees. 8 tees get you a suspension. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that is the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know.
Very well done, Mark Miller.
Right there till the end, Trent. See how you do that?
Yeah, I got you.
All right,
Little,
just checking.
little golf clap for you.
About a 4-footer for power is all you gave me. Matt Baker will join us next hour. He's been at the SEC Media Days. A lot to talk about. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer. I want to get into this with Matt. He's there, and so's Saban covering the thing. I mean, that's just weird because Saban's the GOAT. I mean, that period, end of sentence. Yeah. That's the GOAT, and he's
it's just
still
awkward.
looking over your shoulder.
It's awkward. It's not weird. It's awkward. I can't imagine being one of those guys.
And no one's talking about Alabama this year. Texas, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma. Does Alabama have more than we know? Miller and Moulton.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Buying or selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I'm with Sonny. That's red. That's Chaw. That was not Skull. That was not Skull. That was either Red Man or what's the other pouch? There was Red Man and there was one other one.
Did you get my text, Mark?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Levi Garrett. Okay, that's it. Yeah, you're right, Deadstroke. That's Beach Nuts, what I was thinking of, though. That's the one I was thinking of. I liked playing co-ed softball or men's softball just to put a jaw in. My favorite thing to do. I love just sticking a big thing of Red Man in my cheek. I will admit it. Being able to spit, it was great. I haven't had a Red Man in 20 years. Haven't played softball in that long. More than that. Did play in a fun league in Naples. It was a one-pitch league. You got one pitch. And if it hit the plate, it was a strike. If it didn't, it was a ball. Some teams were pansies and would take pitches. We swang at everything because that was it. You got one crack. And you played 9 innings and you played it basically in an hour. It was awesome. It was as much fun as I've ever had in a softball league. Played with a co-ed team. That was fun. Did that in Naples for a while. We had fun doing that. But the one pitch league I thought was like pretty competitive. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. A lifetime ago. That was right when I became single. I did that.
I was going to ask, did you have Jake yet? Or
oh yeah, I had Jake, but I was I just split up with his mom, and we had great unis. There was a guy that had a limo company, Top Shelf Cabs, got us great like maroon button down unis. They were sharp.
Mark, you look good in maroon.
It's a good color for me. I had an Alabama jersey when I was a kid.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, hour number 2. Thanks so much for joining us. David is out today. I honestly can't tell you when he'll be back. I've got a gut feeling that he's going to do tomorrow's show. But other than that, I truly don't know. I'm asking all of you to send your prayers, your good vibes, and anything you can David's way. He is in a tough spot right now, a very serious and tough spot. I went through it earlier on the show. I'm not going to do it all day, but I know our audience pops in and out. And, David and I both have cancer. David's in a much worse spot than I am. My cancer treatment's going very well. We're not through the woods yet, but we're on our way. David is not as fortunate as I am. And it has been a tough week for David. It's been a tough last few months, but the last few days have been nothing short of awful. And
if you would like an update, head to millerandmoulton.com. Download the first hour of the program, as you can download every hour of every program. But Mark gave a great little quick update. Everything you need to know is in hour 1. millerandmoulton.com.
So, SEC Media Days, and we talked about this briefly, but Alabama was on the podium yesterday. DeBoer was speaking, and then, they go do, as they call it, the car wash. And shame on Miller and Moulton, and obviously with what's going on with David, he would have never been able to go there, but we probably should have been in Tampa doing the show this week. Realistically, that's on me, because that would have been easy to pull off. And then you get, it would have been long days because they don't really do much in the morning before 10.
No.
I think the first team doesn't even take the podium until about 9:30, maybe right around there. But they do the car wash where they do all the interviews. And one of the spots that they stop's the 4-letter network. And, Nick Saban's there and he's talking. It was funny. His comments to John Summerall, the new Florida coach, where, he kind of said, I'm a partial Gator because he lives in Florida. And, you don't get this going right, you're going to have to hear from me, which I thought was cute and fun. But the fact, and I think Nick has made a tremendous transition from coaching into broadcasting. It's not easy for most, because if you still want to coach, which Nick doesn't, but if you still want to coach, you're not critical of anyone. And we've seen that countless times. Players don't take shots. Coaches don't. They don't go after other players. When they're out, when they start becoming a little more critical. And Nick is critical. Nick's tough. I think Nick does a really good job when he's breaking down games. He's learned to have a sense of humor. I think McAfee, believe it or not, has brought the best in Nick out. And I know a lot of you don't like McAfee. I'm one that really likes him, but I think he does a tremendous job. That being said, when DeBoer's going around and Nick's in the room, he's the, you might say Bear Bryant. I think Nick's resume is right there with Bear's, at least in, as Trent likes to always say when the LeBron MJ thing comes up, he didn't see MJ. So the LeBron's the best in his lifetime. Well, Nick's the best coach that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've seen Bowden and I've seen Jimmy Johnson. And there's a lot of guys you could put in that category. In the list is that wing of the Hall of Fame's a hell of a wing. But what Nick did at Alabama, I don't know if we'll ever see again.
Well, and also, Mark, I want to throw this in there because being on TV, being on radio was not easy, right? And I think if you think of all the other greats, all the other great coaches, like I'm not sure how good Phil Jackson would be on TV or radio, if you know what I mean. I think he'd be fine. I don't know if he could be what Nick Saban is right now. I don't know if Greg Popovich could do what Nick Saban is doing right now. So I think that's also part of it. Is it's not just, he's not afraid to be critical, and he shouldn't be, because he can be as critical as he wants because he's Nick Saban, and he is the greatest we've ever seen. But I think just for his status and then also like his radio personality, I think he has done a fantastic job for himself, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I'm looking at this more from Kalen DeBoer's end. Because, look like I mentioned Ernie Harwell earlier. When you get the job after Ernie Harwell, it's tough. Like, put it this way. Brad Nessler had a tough job. People loved Vern Lundquist. Brad Nessler is a tremendous play-by-play voice. Done a lot of big games. He's done everything. But when you got to go replace Vern, who was a staple of the SEC on CBS.
Good luck.
It was tough. And, and even it's so funny because my ex-wife's family are all Georgia people. And they hated Gary. And they loved Vern. They hated Gary. Well, the minute Gary left, you have no idea how much they missed Gary. And I'm sure, the Florida fan might say the same thing. The Bama fan might say the same thing. But it's funny. All of a sudden you're gone and it's like, wow, he was really good. No blank. But with Kalen DeBoer, it's not a broadcast. Nick brought them to heights that they think they should have every year.
Right.
Alabama fan thinks that they should be given the national title. In fact, if you look back at some of the natties that they claim, it's laughable. But he did what they always wanted. They want to yell Roll Tide Roll. They want to play Sweet Home Alabama. And they want to tell you how much better they are than everybody else. DeBoer's now going into his third year. They won 11 games last year. They lost a playoff game. But he put an 11-win season on the board. And it ain't close to good enough. I just wonder this year, Alabama, I've talked about Indiana several times. Well, Alabama, their first 5, there's one game in there that I think the spread will be under 10. They open with East Carolina. My son's actually going. I'm fired up for him. He went to East Carolina. He and some of his buddies are going to Tuscaloosa to watch their team lose. But
go Pirates, let's go.
He's going. He's fired up to see the game. Well, I'll probably get a report from him at some point on it as we get either before the game or after. Then they go to Kentucky. Now, Kentucky's coach thinks they're going to win because of him, but Alabama's going to be a big favorite in that game. Then they play Florida State. Florida State's a mess. Then they host South Carolina. A lot of people have higher expectations of South Carolina than they've had in a while. I'll wait and see because, after all, it's South Carolina. But that game will probably be under 10, and then they're at Mississippi State. And if it was Alabama at South Carolina, I might circle that and say, ooh, that's a spot.
Hang on. Can you say that again? Can you say that school's name again?
Mississippi State?
Mississippi State?
Yeah.
You sound like Jerry Jones. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I mean, for
Sorry,
my old
I
buddy,
just think that's
for my
funny.
old buddy Sammy Wallace, we used to argue all the time. He would call them the real MSU because that's where he graduated from, and we'd have a lot of fun arguing that. And I would say Miss State. But those are their first 5: East Carolina, Kentucky, Florida State, South Carolina, Mississippi State, before they host Georgia. There's a good chance, I think an excellent chance, that they're going to be favored by 7+ in every one of those games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They'll be undefeated playing Georgia. Now they got a little bit of a stretch here. Georgia at Tennessee, home for A&M. That's a pretty tough 3-game stretch. And then they do play at LSU, but they host Auburn. And when they lose to Auburn, it's usually on the plains. It's not at home.
Right.
So Alabama in the weeds is an intriguing team to me because they're never in the weeds. We're always talking about Alabama's literally been a preseason top 5 seemingly for the last 15, 20 years.
Mark, for as long as I can remember. I mean, right. Alabama has been, it wasn't until 2000 when Nick Saban left Michigan State for LSU first, and then I think in 07.
Well, then he went to the Dolphins, and then he went to Alabama.
Yeah. So, my whole life, it's been Nick Saban has been dominating. Alabama's been dominating. Nick Saban leaves. Alabama hasn't won a championship. It kind of doesn't really miss a beat. You know what I mean? So
right. Look, a lot's on this quarterback. They've got a young quarterback, and it will all be on him. But DeBoer's won everywhere he's been. Go look at his resume. He by all accounts did it the right way.
Damn good football coach.
He did it the right way. And now he's under, Beamer, they say at South Carolina, is the guy on the hot seat. And I don't think DeBoer gets blown out. But, there were a lot of people that thought DeBoer might leave to go to Michigan just because he'd already had it with Alabama. And I look at the Crimson Tide, and I'm like, you're not talking about – when we talk about the SEC right now, it's Texas and Georgia and then Lane and LSU. Those are the big stories. I don't recall to your point, I don't recall the last time when we talked about the SEC that maybe a little bit heading into last year because they'd lost 4 games. Oh my God. They went 9-3 in the regular season, but that
Alabama was a sleeper.
Right. And it was, can he rebound? And he got him to the playoffs a year ago. But I really think if you're sleeping on Alabama this year, you might be making a mistake.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of Kalen DeBoer, and then speaking of Lane, would you rather be LSU or Alabama this morning, Mark?
LSU. They've got more money.
Me too.
LSU has more money. I don't think Alabama has never been the richest program in the SEC. Before NIL, they had a really good system of how they were getting their players money. Well, now that you can do it above board, LSU is committed, even though they have no money for any of their schools and the state seemingly broke, not their football team. And Louisiana has more high school talent than Alabama. It just does. And they can go into Texas. They go into Houston and do very well. And Lane's a better recruit. Lane with the checkbook is good in the portal. So
you're not wrong about that.
He built Ole Miss through the portal. He did a hell of a job. Now he can use the portal and a rich recruiting base in his home state. So I'd rather be LSU. But I'm saying don't sleep on Alabama this year. I think that they can be a playoff team. I think that, Georgia, LSU, I think he gets one of them, not both. And obviously, you throw up a 10-2 there, you're in by a long shot.
No, I'm with you. He gets one of them.
Miller and Moulton. When we come back, the magic numbers, 37-48. We'll talk about the best 48s ever to play. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
That's so laughable, Sonny. Bo wouldn't make my top 10 list of best coaches, and that's not an anti-Michigan thing. That's laughable. Bo's not even better than Woody. Not better than Joe Pa. I mean, there's two Big Ten coaches I'll put ahead of him. Saban's obviously better. I'll take Spurrier before Bo. Take Bowden before Bo. I'll take Jimmy Johnson before Bo. I'll take Pete Carroll in his brief time at USC before Bo. That's 7. And I'm just getting warmed up. What about John Robinson at USC? Is that 8? Come on. And that's when Michigan and Ohio State got all the unlimited scholarships. They kept all the players. And he still couldn't win a natty. Couldn't win a Rose Bowl, for Christ's sake. Yeah, Javier Urban before Bo. All day, every day. Thank you, Javier. All day, every day.
What are we talking about?
Oh, he's just tried to say Bo's the best coach. You're
Judas,
talking about Michigan coaches. You just said he's still the best coach. We're not. Who cares? Yes, he's Michigan's best coach. Well, that's a hell of a list. I mean, he's better than what, Lloyd Carr and Jim Harbaugh. I mean,
what did Bo Schembech? I can't even say his name.
Lou Holtz. Javier, I'll go Lou Holtz, and I never liked Lou.
Oh boy.
And by the way, Happy, I'll bet you anything you want that Kalen DeBoer is the coach of Alabama next year. That's wishful thinking from an Auburn fan. You just want turmoil in Tuscaloosa. I get it. Sonny, I mean, I'm sorry. That's not a conversation that's really relevant to this show, but knock yourself out. We weren't even talking about Michigan coaches, so it's a subject you brought up for, I guess, you to talk about, for you to have a
a poll question with yourself or maybe Paula, because no one else in this chat room cares.
I would take Mark D'Antonio over Bo Schembechler. I would. I think that's a fair debate. I do.
I don't think you're that far off.
Neither guy won a natty, right? Both guys won like the conference multiple times.
But Mark won a Rose Bowl and got to a playoff. I mean, how many Rose Bowls did Bo win? Did he win one or did he not win any? I don't recall off the top of my head. I really don't.
See, Sonny says, "Come on, Trent." I don't know.
I think it's a very fair argument.
I do too.
You got to remember that when Bo was coaching Michigan, they had unlimited scholarships, and Michigan and Ohio State got all the best players.
Yeah. And that's all I mean, Sonny. It's not. It's all love. It's just. It's like I don't know. I think about that time. I don't know. When did Bo leave Michigan, Mark?
I don't know. I know he fired Ernie Harwell.
'89. Yes, Sonny. Mark D'Antonio was a very good football.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Magic numbers 37 until week 0. 48 until Patriots and Seahawks in the rematch that no one actually asked for. But they're giving it to us anyway. But that gets us to the greatest 48s. First off, I am curious, Trent, do you even, this is not an easy number. Like I'm not going to knock you if you don't have any here.
I have one for you. And it is the Detroit Lions long snapper for 20 years. 20 years. Usually I would apologize because I'm like, I don't want to be,
You are being that guy. Go ahead. The long
Don Muehlbach.
Okay.
Don Muehlbach.
That's the
48. He played for the Lions for 20 years.
First and only time he is going to be mentioned on a sports show in the country today, including
there you go.
Detroit. There's some good baseball players, and I would say a few great baseball players. As far as football players, we've got Lionel Washington, the corner, played with the Cardinals, good player. Stephon Davis, running back. That would probably be it would either be that or Moose for me. I loved Moose Johnson.
Well, Mark, when we get to baseball, let me jump in again because I have one more. Just popped into my head. Go ahead.
But not a lot of that. I mean, I'm looking through the football players. There's not a lot there. Trent, I love doing this. There have only been 2 players in the history of the NBA that have ever worn the number. One of them you won't know. I am curious if you know the other one. I'll be amazed if you know, but I am positive that Walt Gilmore, who wore 48 in the 71 season for the Portland Trailblazers, wouldn't make your Rolodex. But
no clue.
Nazar Mohammed played with the Bulls for 3 years. Does that name even ring a bell to you?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
All right. So those are the 2 48s. Hockey-wise, Daniel Briere wore it. He was probably most known with Philadelphia, played with a few teams, but played with Buffalo for a few years. Philly for, I guess, the majority of his, or the most years of his career. JJ Daniel played for Montreal. Good, not great. Thomas Hurdle, hell of a goal scorer, plays in Vegas right now. He wears 48. And that's hockey-wise, that's really about it. But
now, when we get to baseball, I do want to throw one out there.
Right. I mean, baseball, go ahead. What do you got for me?
Torrey Hunter.
That's it. That's where you start and end the list. That's you got the number 148 right there. Rick Russell, the pitcher, pitched for 18 seasons, wore the number, played with the Cubs for a little over a decade, played with a few teams. But yeah, Torrey Hunter, that's to me where this sucker starts and ends. Because
that's a guy who played at a high level for a long enough time where, yes, I remember him. And was he great? No. But he was an all-star level player, and he played for my team for a while. So of course I remember his jersey number and 48. When I think of 48, I think of Torrey Hunter.
Well, the other one that's currently playing is Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
Is 48. So
that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's another one that I would
one of the all-time greats, like all-time greats. And in the spirit of David Moulton here on this Thursday, the New York Mets. That's a good one.
So Jacob deGrom's a 48. That's, it's a tough, but Moose Johnson's my favorite. That would be my favorite. But again,
do you like Moose Johnson as a analyst?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay.
I'm a weirdo with this. No, because, I saw someone comment on because of the whole ESPN firings.
Yeah.
And none of those guys, Ravitch was really the only one. He did play-by-play. I've never in my life watched a game because of an announcer.
The announcer.
Ever.
Yeah.
I watched the game, and this is, did I go crazy for a good 5 years when Michigan State was very average and I had to deal with Pam Ward doing the noon Michigan State game on ESPN2? Yeah, that was annoying. But I'm not turning it off because she was terrible. And if Joe Buck and Troy Aikman do a game, is it better? I think people in here got mad at me because they don't like the person. And Mike Tirico's got a lot of skeletons in his closet.
Oh my goodness.
And if you dig, he's not really a good dude.
No.
But I think Mike Tirico right now is the best play-by-play guy going. When he did hockey for ESPN, or for NBC or whatever it was, I'm like, is that Tirico? Holy crap, he can do hockey too? I mean, because he does everything and he's pretty seamless. He can be a host. He can be a play-by-play guy. I think he's the best one out there. By the way, for the people who follow this show for 48s, I got to bring this up. Joe Borowski wore it with the Cubs. And if you're a longtime listener, David did a show before we were together. David did a show, and Borowski hadn't really made his second run yet. And I think this is pre-Cubs. And he asked our audience, or his audience, would you trade your life to be Joe Borowski, basically a journeyman? And that means everything but your parents, your wife, your kids. And like 70% of the audience would have done it hands down. And he was astonished by that. One of my favorite shows that I was not with him for that, but one of my favorite shows that David ever did. But yeah, Jacob deGrom wore it with the Mets, wears it with the Rangers. Torrey Hunter. I think those are the two best.
Yeah.
I saw one other name. I'm double checking to see how many years he wore it, because I know he played for a few teams, and I get nervous when I go to a guy who didn't wear it his whole career. And yeah, because I saw Dave Stewart on the list, but he didn't wear it in Oakland. He wore it with the Dodgers and the Rangers. So I don't really count that. You've got to wear it. It's got to be your main number throughout your career, because a lot of guys get traded around and have different numbers. So that's it. 48 days away from the start of the National Football League season, 37 days away from the beginning of the college football season, week 0, just around the corner.
Well, I have one more for you, and it's only because you're a Spartan, I'm a Spartan. I'm curious if you're going to remember this guy, Kenny Willekes.
No.
Edge rusher.
No,
from
no.
I think about like 2017 to 2020.
Oh, those great years. No, I don't remember him. I mean, first off, you're a bigger number guy than I am. Secondly, you have to understand that you live in that green and white world.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't
I know,
care
I
anymore.
know. I wasn't expecting you to know. I
And
just
I
thought
think-
maybe you would.
I think, 10 years ago, that's about the time that all my Michigan State gear was in a garbage bag in the closet because of the Nasser thing. And until that board was all fired, I didn't watch them, I didn't care about them, and I didn't pay any attention.
Yeah.
So
I don't laugh because it's funny. I laugh because it's terrible.
no, you laugh because I did it, because you wouldn't have. Most Spartans didn't. And I still have I've never come back the same way from that. Never. And I don't know if I ever will. I've never been the same fan since the way that administration handled. That's why I get on you when you start throwing stones at Michigan. It's like what we did was far worse. Far worse.
But what Michigan State did is out in the open.
No,
And what
but
Michigan did,
you're
what Michigan has done.
Trent, you couldn't be more wrong. It's out in the open because federal.
How does it? Why does it matter how it got out in the open?
Because
It's
Michigan
out in
State
the
tried
open.
to hide it, and they hid it for years, Trent. They protected him for years.
And what
It
is
was
Michigan
factual.
doing right now, Mark?
What difference does it make if they're protecting Sharon Moore? He cheated on his wife. The things he did in the apartment are awful. So Connor Stallions cheated. It's not even in the same league. It's not in the same sentence. It's not in the same paragraph. It's not close.
I'm not saying it is. I just think that Michigan State, the way that
You got to get over it.
Michigan State has aired things out.
No, they
Michigan
haven't.
tryes to play the victim every chance they get.
And again, you've got to leave Michigan for an hour. You are just in a world that is very sequestered right now. Matt
Evidently.
Baker to talk college football next.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
Buying or
sound.
selling a home? Put a local expert to work for you. I'm Mark Miller, and I believe real estate is about more than transactions. It's about helping people make the right move. From pricing your home to negotiating the best deal, I'll be with you every step of the way. Call or text me today, 239-425-5582. That's 239-425-5582. Experience, local knowledge, and the best personal service. That's the difference.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I believe you have to do it on YouTube. I'm not positive. YouTube, you can go back to the beginning of the show a lot easier. I'm sure you can do it on this, but I don't know how. Mr. Spivey, I agree. Look at Sharon Moore cheated on his wife with a girl. The whole thing in the apartment's gross, but, unfortunately, he didn't harm her or him. Trent had to leave. He's had a family emergency. It's not because of anything on the air. He just went Michigan too hard. And first off, he's had 3 numbers, and secondly, boy, I don't think so, Tim, but that's just me. No, because Bo would have never got there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Now, this is tricky because Trent's done for the day and hooking up with Matt Baker, and he literally just asked me to call him, which can be done, but the problem is doing a show and making a phone call at the same time is not the easiest thing in the world. So we will try to connect here with Matt as quickly as I can, but I didn't have the phone set up because, well, I wasn't expecting to have to contact someone that way. So we'll do our best here to get Matt Baker on in quick fashion. I think it can be done. It just makes me sound a little less intelligent than normal. And let's be honest, that's not a hard bar to reach on my part. So we'll get there, and we'll get there as quickly as we can. Matt is at Media Days, and damn it, why would the phone work today? That is just something. So I don't know if we're going to get Matt Baker today.
Matt, I know I've got you on the phone. Give me a second here because the system's not working to get you on the air because he called me. So let's see if we can pull this off. And I don't know if without shutting my whole system down, which I would need to do during a break, we can actually get our guest on the air. That's called producing, co-hosting, and trying to get everything done all at once. And it's not happening. So Matt, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get you on. He said he couldn't get on StreamYard, and he literally hit me up right as we were coming back from break. So for whatever reason, my system's not able to work with the phones, and I don't exactly know why that is, but I can't shut off the board because you know how to fix it, obviously, is to turn it off and turn it back on again. And, well, that's not working. So Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. If you're just joining us, David is out today. I am incredibly hopeful that he'll be here tomorrow. But if I don't think the odds are on it. I do think David's going to do everything he can to suck it up. But things are not going well for David at all. And if he does the show tomorrow, it would be something, to say the very least. It would be something. So hopefully that happens. But right now, I don't know if it will. And we'll go from there. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to hook up with Matt Baker because I don't have the phone system working right. I wasn't ready for us to have to go that route this morning because we had planned on having Matt via video, and it's just not working the way I want it to. So that is that. Matt's at SEC Media Days. Yesterday, the Gators took the stage, and with that, we got a pretty solid quote from the head coach. Yesterday, John Summerall's doing his talk at around 10:30 in the morning on the podium, and a phone goes off, and he stops what he's saying, tells the guy he'd kick him out of a team meeting, and everybody laughs. You then see the quote or the video on X. He said, I'd throw this you're lucky I'm not throwing this podium right now. And people are like, oh, the fake outrage, the fake tough guy. It's already getting old. Now, if you are not a Gator fan, it's low-hanging fruit. If you're a Gator fan, I know all you want to do is win. You don't care how. But to me, you got to read a little deeper. Everybody in the room laughed. I'm guessing, including the guy whose phone went off. He didn't call him out by name. He even said, I'm not going to say your name. He wasn't mean to that person. He made an example. And who among us, seriously, in the cell phone world that we're in, yesterday, with everything going on, I did something I've never done in my life on a cell phone. But I was trying to get David Sampson on the show tomorrow because it is our 20th anniversary. And David knows what David Moulton and I have both been going through. And obviously, we know with David Sampson what he just went through. He lost his daughter to cancer. I can't even imagine that. And David called me while I was at Moffitt, and I was about to get into an elevator to go do a test. And so I kept talking to David on the elevator because I don't talk to David Sampson that often. And the fact that he called me back after I'd sent him a text, I respect the guy, and I'm not going to not answer the phone. So there were 3 other people in the elevator, and I had the conversation and tried to be as quiet as I could. And when I got off the elevator on the 4th floor, I finished my conversation. I didn't have a chance to apologize to the people in the elevator for talking on the phone. It was incredibly rude of me. I would acknowledge that. But there are circumstances, and I get there are circumstances for everything. But when you're in a press conference, your phone should be on silent. And it wasn't. So he took a little shot at him. And everybody's going nuts talking about fake tough and this and that about Summerall. He didn't call the guy out by name. He told him he'd throw him out of his team meeting. Yes, he would. I think all of us would. How pissed do you get when you're at a restaurant and the phone goes off? I make an over-under bet with my wife every week when we go to church during season. It's usually 2.5 because they announce twice before Mass, 2 different times, please put your phone on silent. And yet either people don't know how to do it or forget or think that they already have. Now, because I do what I do for a living, my phone's always on silent. Always. I can hear the damn vibrations that go off. But I thought he had a little bit of fun. I don't think it's a damning moment. I like what he said about the quarterback position. I like what the running back had to say. I like Jaden Baugh saying, I want to be the best running back in the SEC. Thought he stepped up to the mic and handled it pretty well. I don't know how good the Gators are going to be. You know, we had Bud Elliott on Wednesday. Bud thinks they're sneaky. I think that's fair. The Gator people that I talk to regularly are excited about their skilled guys, petrified about their offensive line. The offensive line's got to click. And who among us really believes you can be good without a good offensive line? So the Gators have to get play out of guys that they don't know about just yet. And that, to me, is the ultimate question. I listened to the College station pretty much the whole drive up to Tampa yesterday and the whole drive back in and around phone calls. And it was funny to hear some of them talk about the same thing David and I talked about last week. I felt like I was listening to a replay of our show. But week 3, everybody's talking about Ole Miss and LSU. I get it. It's going to be the biggest game in the country. But the Gators at Auburn is a monster game for both of those teams. 2 first-year coaches, Golish and Summerall, both trying to build something. Both are not where their fan bases think they should be. Not even close. Obviously, they wouldn't have new coaches if that were the case. So if you're the Gators and you're going to be 2-0 going to Auburn, you play 2 cupcakes. Auburn is in the same situation. Auburn plays Baylor and Southern Miss. Baylor a little bit better, but it's a game they should win. It's a neutral site game, but it's a home game for Baylor, and they're getting NIL, and that's kind of a screwy situation. But Auburn, they're getting comparisons. And I think this is horrible. For Auburn, I don't think it's horrible to make the comparison. I think it's really tough for Alex Golish. Because Alex Golish did what? Now, he didn't go from a level as low as James Madison, but he went from South Florida to Auburn. Remember the guy that went from James Madison to Indiana? They're already making that comparison because what Golish did was bring a bunch of his players with him. He's got Byron Brown there as quarterback, who came from South Florida. He's now going to be in the SEC leading Auburn. Now, we watched Indiana bring all these James Madison guys and immediately win in the Big Ten, and it shocked the hell out of everyone. That game for Auburn is as big for them as it is for the Gators. The Gators this year don't play Tennessee. They don't play LSU. Those have been the big rivalry games. There was a time that they used to play Florida every year, and it was a big deal. So game 3 of the season for both of these schools, to me, is monstrous. You know, the Gators look pretty good at their skill positions. How are these quarterbacks going to handle it? And you even heard Summerall yesterday say, I don't need my quarterback to big team Tim Tebow. I need him to manage the game, get the ball to the skill guys, and let them make plays. Because I think the skill guys for Florida are damn good. I like their receiving crew. I like Baugh, the running back. And whomever the quarterback is, whether it's the kid from Georgia Tech or Jones, the kid that's been there, right now I think it's going to be the kid from Tech, and all signs point to that. But nothing's set in stone, and Summerall said so much yesterday. Said he might not know until an hour before the game. So when you look at what is ahead for both of these schools, while the world's going to be focusing on Ole Miss and LSU, and rightly so, when Lane comes back to the Grove. Florida and Auburn means so much to these two schools' respective seasons. You know, Florida comes home the next week and plays Ole Miss after that big game. Ole Miss is vulnerable that week. And then they go to Missouri. Their schedule gets tougher in the back half. What do they do those first 5 games? Auburn, the same thing. If they beat the Gators, they're hosting Vanderbilt. Well, Pavi is gone from Vanderbilt. We'll see how well this guy coaches now. And then they go to Tennessee. Tennessee, Heupel, good coach, but there are some that think they could be really good. There are others that think they're a little overrated. So it's the one thing about the SEC. It's the difference between the SEC and the Big Ten. Right now, you could argue at the top, the Big Ten's the best conference. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, all supposedly really good. In the SEC, it's more Texas and Georgia, and then we find out. Now, I think we're sleeping on Alabama. I do. I think Oklahoma has the ability to be an excellent football team this year. Bud Elliott actually agreed with me on Oklahoma, but he puts it on Mateer. How good can he be as a quarterback this year? I think you can say that for a lot of teams. But that middle part of the conference, that's where the SEC thrives. And who breaks out of that? When you look after Texas and Georgia, you know, you've got Alabama, you've got Oklahoma, Ole Miss, A&M, Tennessee, LSU, and then you've got South Carolina, Auburn, and Florida that they want to exceed expectations. In order to do that, who do they take out? But that week 3 Florida-Auburn game to me is just huge for both schools. Absolutely huge. Miller and Moulton, Pelican Roofing Florida text line, always open at 21,000. Apologies to not getting Matt Baker on. That was the plan. And for whatever reason, my phone didn't want to cooperate. I have no idea. By the way, the 48, someone chimed in and said Jimmy Johnson as a 48, the NASCAR driver. You're right. And he said he was so good he ruined the whole sport. I don't know about ruined it, but man, he was boring. So there you have it. A little college football talk, SEC Media Days. Wanted to get into it with Matt Baker. Apologies to all of you for that not being able to work out. Matt reached out to me and said he couldn't get the video to work, and I couldn't get the phones to work. So, you know, his end didn't work. My end didn't work. Apologies there. But I know everything's working with Pat Kirwan because I see him in the on deck circle. We will switch gears from Saturdays to Sundays and talk with Pat Kirwan coming up next. 48 days until the start of the National Football League season. The Patriots and the Seahawks get things started on a Wednesday night before the Australia game, and then a weekend full of football. Training camp has opened. Carolina and Arizona have opened their camps. Everybody else opened by the middle part of next week. And while I don't care about preseason football, this is the time of year that we care about one thing: injuries. We'll talk to Pat, get his thoughts this offseason. Coming up on Miller and Moulton. David off today. As I mentioned earlier in the show, things are not good. There's no way to sugarcoat this, but whatever you do, yeah, you say prayers, we'll take them. You want to send good vibes, we'll take them. We need them. Hoping like hell David can be back tomorrow for our 20th anniversary show. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape. We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times, but Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever, are steadily adding affiliates, yet we only have a few sponsors. And if that doesn't change, we can't continue. But if you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or contact Mark on X at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning. You're working your butt off. Keep me on as long as you want.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and I said it to start the show, so I'm not holding you. This is I talked to David's wife twice yesterday. Once I had to go to Tampa for some tests.
Yeah.
And, once on the way up and once on the way back, and things are not going well.
No.
So I there's part of me that thinks he's going to do tomorrow, just because I think he's going to suck up everything he's got to do the 20th anniversary show.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the last show we ever do together. I hate to say it, but that's where I think we're at right now.
Yep. I think so too. Yeah. It's a shame.
It really is. This thing got ugly quickly. And I think it's been a little worse for a while and we just didn't know.
No, he's not forthcoming with how bad it is.
No, I called Gary Danielson yesterday, and he kind of made it sound like this football season David was in a lot worse shape than we knew.
Well, that's what Aikman said to me. He said it got worse and worse, and he was when I was with him in March, he was like, I don't know how he's going to do it. So
yeah, I actually John and I were talking because I've got Troy's number. I've never called him because we had him on the show once. That's the only reason I got it. I'm like, I know, because I asked David's wife, is Troy aware of what's going on? And she said yes, but then I wonder how much. So I think I kind of formed a text and sent it to John, and I'm probably going to send it to Troy after the show.
Yeah, when I saw him at the owners' meetings, I felt like he knew more than me. That David had told him more than he told me.
Yeah,
which is fine. Well, we're talking about his survival now. We're not talking about anything else, really.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Yep. When do you leave? When do you? Oh, I'm fine, Pat. I'm actually. Yesterday I had to have
endoscopy because I've had a little GI issue, and they just want to make sure that this disease called graft-to-host disease you can get after a transplant. The doc doesn't think I have it. It's more precautionary, but I've had a few GI issues. So he's like, let's do this and this. So I had to go up and, they gave me some good drugs, knocked me out for about an hour and stuck some tubes down my throat. Took some pictures, took a biopsy. We'll see. But everything came back. They said it looked clean. I'm not too
good.
worried.
Well, how are you getting through this show? You're going to have some help tomorrow or?
Yeah, I had Trent today. And poor kid, his cousin passed away last night unexpectedly. So he did a couple segments with me, and then he had to blow to family this morning. So he's dealing with that. So I think I'll have Trent tomorrow.
Are you on till 9 o'clock? Is that what you're on today?
I'm on till 10.
10.
I'll get through it. It's it is what it is.
Well, as I said, you can keep me as long as you want. I don't care.
All right.
I'm watching high school football practice.
Oh boy.
I'm sitting in my car.
How's the grandson doing? Is he becoming a football player?
Yeah, he's working his way towards it. I took him to 7 camps this spring just to really get coached up, and he's trying to play. Everyone has to learn a position on both sides. So he was defensive end, which is what he is, and now they've trained him to be a tight end too. So he's 235 pounds.
I know I've told you about my buddy's kid who's played center and tackle. He's going to Grand Valley. He's up to 280 now.
Yeah, that's it.
And he sent me a video. He's working with this guy. It's amazing. The workouts they do now are so different than what they did years ago. Just crazy what they're doing for balance and things. All right, here we go.
All right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks so much for listening. David off today. I have explained the situation a few times. I ask all of you, send your prayers, your positive vibes, whatever you can David's way. They're needed. That's as easily as I can say it. If you missed it, I'll probably mention it one more time. But as you all know, David and I both have cancer. I'm doing fine. David's not. That's the long and short of it. We bring on Pat Kirwan now. Pat joins us once a week during the offseason. It's almost time that we'll start getting 2 a weeks from Pat. Pat's appearance always brought to you by Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West, where you cannot fake fresh. Good morning, Pat. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine, and hope all's well with David. I'll give him a call after we're done here. But look, we're spending a lot of our time talking to the guys going to the Hall of Fame and getting the guys who coached him. Ron Rivera came on to talk about Kuechly, and Brad Seeley came on to talk about Vinatieri. That was my favorite one. Ken Wisenhunt came on yesterday to talk about Fitz, his receiver. But the Kuechly one was great. No, excuse me. For you, the Vinatieri one would be great. So when he made the great kick to beat the Rams, the greatest show on turf, before he went out to make the kick, I said, Seals, you got any stories on Adam? And he goes, yeah, here's one for you. Before he went out to take the kick, he turned to the ball boy and said, go down to the end zone and catch this game-winning ball because I'm going to want to keep it. And then he put it through for 48 yards. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The kid caught it, too. It wasn't like he bobbled it. He caught it and ran back with it for Vinatieri. So tell you something about his confidence and in a big clutch moment. And really, it launched his Hall of Fame career.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
I mean, the whole thing.
What were they? I mean, they were what, a double-digit underdog in that game? I know at least 9, but I thought they were a pretty significant underdog. I was still working in hockey, and I remember we stopped at a sports bar. We were bussing home from wherever, and we went to a sports bar so we could all watch the game, and then piled on and headed back to Southwest Florida. And nobody. And some of the guys on the hockey team don't care about football, but there was, a good 10 football fans there. And I remember getting back on the bus and just everybody being stunned because nobody saw, people forget. Yeah, that ended up being a dynasty. But at that point, they were supposed to get their butts kicked that day.
They were. I was on the sideline for the end of the game, the second half, actually. And it was a couple of things that were interesting to me. They did not announce the team coming out of the tunnel for the game. the players voted, we don't want to announce any names. We don't want offense or defense. So they all came out together just holding hands, which was different. And, the Super Bowl kind of gets managed by the league office, and they got all the rules. And those guys said, no, we're going to do it our way. This is what we're going to do, and we got to stick together. So it was their symbolic gesture of how they're going to handle themselves. And then I'll tell you the most important and interesting thing I heard. Late in the game, if you remember the Greatest Show on Turf, they were handling them pretty well, playing a lot of man under two deep and being very physical on the receivers because they didn't believe Kurt Warner would ever run. And as things went on, he didn't run, and they kept having a big advantage on how they're going to play defense. But late in the game, Warner started to move around more and realized they're letting me do what I want. I ought to take advantage of it. And the coaches on the sideline said to Belichick, we can't play for overtime. If you remember, I think it was Madden saying they're going to play for overtime. They're going to play for overtime. And the coaches told Belichick, can't be overtime, coach. We ran out of ways to stop these guys. We need to score now. Otherwise, we're in trouble. And, of course, they scored and the game ended. So it was awesome to be around the coaches. And I really spent a lot of time with the coaches after the game. I interviewed a bunch of them at the time I was working for CNN SI, and it was great. So it was exciting. But when you're on top of it, you hear things, see things that you wouldn't normally hear or see. So, and I remember that game like it was yesterday.
Well, speaking of coaches, because we're not yet at the season and you haven't even started your camp tour. But Pat, you've taught me a lot over the years. 20 years, we've had you on the entire time, or at least damn near. And, while I'm not a guy in hockey that likes retreads, because you can be a head coach in the minors, and I think you can learn how to be a coach in the minors. Well, that doesn't apply to the NFL. And first-year guys, first-time coaches, it's been proven. They struggle. There are exceptions. There are guys that have done it, the McVays of the world. It happens. I get it. But Pat, if I've got this right, there's the number of new head coaches are one thing. There are 21 new offensive coordinators. 17 are going to be play callers because sometimes coaches call the plays. I mean, Pat, over half the league with new play callers. I don't know if it's this. I don't think it's the same as a new head coach, but that's a huge number.
It is a big number. So there's two issues that are come along with that. Number one, do they have any experience? Philadelphia is going to try to do it with Mannion, who has never called a play. The head coach is now starting to say all these nice things about him, and I think he's just trying to induce credibility. But you and I both know they're not going to evaluate him until he starts making calls in real games. But in the meantime, that'll be as it is. Now, if the coordinator has been promoted from the roster, maybe like Brady to the head coach, they're not going to change their system. But if you're bringing in a brand new guy, I've been around this a lot, and I've been involved with maybe 6 changes at offensive coordinator. The guys who come in and try to change all the language, all they do is slow their football team down. And guys like really brilliant players like Boomer Esiason, who's absolutely one of the smartest guys I've ever been around, he even struggled with the new system. I remember talking to Brett Favre about when he came to the Jets and telling me, I call plays, Pat, but I don't see the play in my mind's eye.
Tell you, technical difficulties going because we lost Pat for a moment there. I know he's at a high school football practice at the moment, so hopefully he gets in a spot where his equipment works a little better. But all the new coordinators, and there's a bunch on defense. I mean, there's over 30 new coordinators in the league this year. And that to me is as fascinating as all the new head coaches. Because at the end of the day, the head coach in most cases is a manager of people. How you handle your time is what is important. But as Pat pointed out, when you're bringing in new language and, Philadelphia dealing with a new coordinator, the Lions who have high expectations dealing with a new offensive coordinator, which I actually think is a good move. But after Ben Campbell, how does that work? So, these are the questions I have heading into the season of some of the teams that we think pretty highly of. And it sounds like I've got you back, Matt. I lost you for a second there. But, talk to me about the Eagles.
Yes.
They blamed the coordinator for everything last year. So another new coordinator. I just, I look at the Lions and I look at the Eagles and the expectations of some of these teams, how long is it going to take their offenses to get to where they need to be?
Well, first off, they have to figure out now offense without Brown at wide receiver, who changed a lot of the coverage looks the quarterback got. They brought in a wave of receivers. That doesn't mean any of them are going to get the respect of the opponent where they have rolled double coverage to the guy. So that's going to change the stress on the quarterback about where to throw the ball and what's open, et cetera. So that's a whole new sequence of things. I always go back to Culpepper. When he lost Randy Moss, he was lost himself. And if you go back and look at what happened, he was hard to stop when he had Randy Moss. When Randy Moss left, he became kind of average. So there'll be stress on Hurts to do this and do it well. And then there's always the underlying story of, does Jalen kind of operate on his own time? Does he change plays when he wants? Does he do what he wants? Sean Mannion will have to deal with that subject if in fact it's true. And he's an ex-quarterback, so he's going to have some influence on that. But that for a lot of guys, they're waiting to see how he handles the quarterback in Philadelphia. And that becomes, you don't want that to be a problem. You got enough getting the lineman right and the play calling right, but if you got to manage your quarterback because of his free spirit, if you will, that makes the challenge doubly hard.
You talk with Mike McDonald a lot, the Seattle head coach. You are very fond of him, and I've listened to your interviews. You guys have developed quickly a great rapport. He did not promote from within. He went to San Francisco and got his coordinator. I loved the fact that no one's talking about Seattle entering the year. All the talks about the Rams. I think that's a great spot to be. I don't remember a defending champion being talked about less heading into the season. But as you spoke earlier, this was not a promotion from within. So when you've talked to McDonald, how much is the language there staying the same? I mean, Sam Darnold's progress is critical for Seattle to have a good football team. They're already dealing with a running back that we wonder if he's going to be back at the start of the season. Walker's gone. So when you look at Seattle and their changes, is this a positive, a negative, or a net neutral?
Well, my opinion, first off, and I think Mike is a really good teacher, and he understands I don't need to slow my players down. So I would expect that he's going to ask that coordinator, young guy, to convert whatever. And there might be a lot of similarities for starters in what they did and what they're going to do. But he's probably going to ask the coordinator to convert his language. A lot easier to get one coach to change how he talks versus to get, 25 offensive players to all see the thing and operate. So the smart coaches are kind of telling these guys, look, you come in here with a whole bunch of backwards language for our guys, then you're going to have to change things. And I think Mike is not going to slow down with his offense. And he's been very vocal about the Notre Dame running back, and he has to be. Charbonnet's not healthy yet. And so he's counting on, and what does he say? Well, we run the outside zone, so he's going to run that. We run the inside zone, he's going to run that. And we throw to our running backs, and we're going to do that. So look for the Notre Dame running back to be in the, 15 to 20 touch game early in the season. And I think it's pretty clear to me now that they were never going to re-sign Walker, because Walker did not sign a big deal. They could have done that deal. I just don't think they wanted to be involved with a running back until when he got older. I think they kind of view that as, we'll just keep putting younger guys in there and plug them in and do the job. We'll see if that was a good decision. But I don't think they ever thought. And I remember Mike saying, we all love Kenneth, but Kenneth knows what we're going to do. He said that to me the week before the Super Bowl. And it was kind of it was a comment that was kind of complimentary, but there was something underneath it that you had to think through. And then when the guy was gone in free agency, I realized he was being polite and professional, but they were not bringing him back.
And Walker's a kid that had a lot of carries on Saturday, too, heading into the league. So there's a lot of wear and tear on those tires. So that's an interesting point. The other thing I took from Pat there, by the way, my fantasy guy went off. Boy, if you draft Love and he starts out good, you're going to want to trade him before Charbonnet gets back. Miller and Moulton, joined by Pat Kirwan. And he joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinterest. More with Pat coming up on the other side. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I won't ask this on air because I don't know if you know the answer, but Pat, because obviously the NFL's all in with gambling. What are they thinking about these prediction markets, the cashies and all that? I know they'll take their money, but I know Congress is trying to jump on that. Anything you ever hear from the NFL people about that?
No, they kind of operate in public but silent.
Right.
So I don't get enough. Now, when I get on a camp tour, I'm going to run into guys from the league office at a couple of places, and I'll try to get into that conversation about what's going on there. But the one thing they have talked about is trying to eliminate the prop bet stuff. And
right.
They can't control how that's fixed. I always say the color of the Gatorade. Are you kidding me? You're going to bet on that? They know what color the Gatorade is. So does everyone on the team. What are we doing? You're asking for trouble with some of those things.
Oh, I know. And basketball proved it this year. I mean, with all their, and baseball. I mean, the guy says I can throw a ball first pitch and bet on it. All my friends can make some money. That's crazy stuff. So yeah, I was saying, my buddy sent me a video of his kid, and he's like doing bench presses or doing these things where he's benching with almost like paint cans hanging off the end of it, so they're loose. It's not like weights.
Yeah.
So they're loose. And the trainer was explaining what he was doing, because he's like, well, you're not pushing, when a defensive lineman's coming, it's not like pushing a bench press set up. They're moving. You've got to have balance. And I was just fascinated with what they're having guys do in the weight room now.
Yeah, because balance and torque, and the guy's torquing you, and you've got to be able to get strength back to get him squared up. And yeah, I saw it with garbage pails.
Right.
And garbage pails, and the guy was pouring a bag of concrete in them, and he realized which side of the body was weaker, and he'd have two bags of stuff in there and one bag on the other side. And those garbage pails could slide. Now they had a collar at the end, but the garbage pail could slide. And that was the whole point of the thing, was to keep it balanced while you're lifting.
Right. Yeah. I didn't lift like that, and it's been 100 years since I've really been in a weight room lifting, but I was just like, wow, they have changed what these guys are doing.
I will say this: there's a lot of strength coaches, and it's kind of like a war now between strength coaches. There's the old school, everything's got to be with a bar, and it's got to be for the heavyweight. I just saw my grandson's team squatting, and it was interesting to see how they do it. They knew it. They've been trained enough to do it. But there's a lot of guys now who want to train with kettlebells and not with bars, because the
Right.
kettlebells, there's a balance issue, and you can get to the smaller muscles in the shoulders and everything else. So my guy's been doing a lot of the kettlebell stuff. We'll see how that works out for him. But,
Yeah, I saw my buddy in that workout. He was doing a lot of like squat thrust with kettlebells and ripping them up. It's just interesting to see what they do. It's just very different than what I remember, obviously.
yeah, I'll give you one more. There are teams that don't want to squat because of the compression of your vertebrae and everything else. But this place squats. But I've seen places now that get this, they don't use any weight at all. They use one-legged squats with no weight and hands behind your head because of the balance thing again. And they can burn you up. Try to do a set of 5 with no weights on one leg. That's another thing. You think about how many times when you're watching football, you see a guy, he lands up on one leg, whether he's rushing the passer or he's a running back who's sticking his foot in the ground. But so they really are concentrating on making sure you can play on one leg, which you have to do at points of impact.
And it's, I know, I don't know how many of the linemen they have doing. I mean, I just go back to, for a while, I did yoga with my wife, and you do a lot of balance stuff on one leg, and you realize how weak you are doing it on one leg.
And then it exposes your core strength too.
Yes.
Because when you're on one leg, retaining balance and being able to do something off it is the trick. And so there's a lot of that stuff going on as well. So
yep.
I see more of that stuff in hockey. It's kind of interesting. I think the hockey guys, they never were big on bulking you up.
No.
But they needed you to be strong. So
here we go.
The kettlebells were interesting for them.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Well, David out today. Hoping he's going to be back tomorrow. We will see. That's all I can say. Pat Kirwan joining us. You know Pat. NFL Radio's moving the chains. CBS Sports, the NFL Today show. Pat's had to deal with guest host this week. His new partner, Jacob Hester's at SEC Media Days because he double dips working for LSU. I actually listened to a little bit of Jacob yesterday from SEC Media Days on my drive up to Tampa as they're full bore into their preseason stuff. Pat about to head out on his training camp tour. We spent a lot of time that first segment talking about the impact that offensive coordinators make. Pat, is it easier with a new defensive coordinator? You talked about the language on the offensive side. We think defense, attack. Obviously, language can be a thing, but is it easier for a team to adjust to a new DC than an OC?
Well, I don't think it's hard. First off, the coverages are the coverages. And whether you're in a 4-3 or a 3-4, you're really in a 7-man box. So you have a secondary. Most teams are playing nickel all the time now. Coverage is coverage. And I don't think those guys have a problem with it. Now, if you're becoming a man-to-man team after being a pure zone team, that really requires different personnel. On the front, if you're a one-gap penetrating front and you've been a two-gap in big lumpy front, that may mean a change of personnel. But I see most of these 3-4 defenses still they're one gap, and you can look at teams like Pittsburgh. When you see that nose tackle and he's not dead up on the center's head and he's in a gap, they're going to be a one-gap 3-4, and that means that one of the backers is always coming, right? So they're trying to if you freeze your TV right as they snap the ball, you will see that a lot of these 3-4s turn into 4-3 under defenses because the weak side backer, go back to Terrell Suggs, those guys are called the rush backer, and they want to become a 4-3 defense whenever they want, and that's how they do it.
All right. When you look at rosters, and I know this year I asked you before, you didn't break down positions because so much changes. But when you look at rosters, last year we ended up with 2 teams with really good defenses in the Super Bowl. We ended up with 2 really good defenses in the AFC Championship game. If I were to ask you right now to give me your top 3 defensive rosters heading into the season, where would you go?
Yeah, so I did break down the best pass rush units the other day, which is kind of maybe the essence of pro football. You got to stop the passing game. So when I got done looking at all the transactions, who'd you lose, who'd you sign, who might you sign? So everyone thinks the Rams are on top, and they might be. If they get Aaron Donald back, they will be. And I project them, if Donald comes back, to have 70 sacks. Without him, I'd say 62 to 64, which is going to put them in a dead heat with Denver for the best pass rush unit. And so what do we see when we see Seattle? We see Seattle and the Rams for sure can be four-man pass rush. They don't have to blitz. Some of the teams that are going to produce numbers, they realize that our front four can't do it alone, and now you're blitzing, and that changes your coverages. So the Rams and Seattle, they will not have to blitz. They'll blitz a little bit because no one's getting ready for that, and they'll do it and take advantage of the moment.
Having some difficulty with Pat's audio coming through. I know he's out and about and those things happen. We'll get back with Pat in a moment. Obviously, when he talks about a four-man pass rush, that's everything. And you look at a defense like Seattle, who runs more of a 4-3, with Anderson there, they can get at you. And they also bring pressure from the linebacker. But obviously, Houston, another team that's right there when it comes to a solid pass rush and roster-wise, I think the best defense, hands down, in the league. I am curious because when we talked to Tim McCone last week about the Patriots, I'm the one, and I've said it, I'm on the record, I'll stick with it, that the Patriots, I've said, are not going to make the playoffs. And if I'm wrong, to me, it's what A.J. Brown brings the offense. But that defense, is it a great defense, or was it a really good defense against a bad schedule? That's what we've got to figure out heading into this season. And obviously, their schedule much tougher, but obviously it's a top-end defense. Is it the bottom of the top 10, or is it closer to the top 5? And that remains to be seen, because I don't think their level of competition last year actually figured that out for us. But Denver right there, Houston right there. We'll see where the Patriots are. He talked about the Rams and Seattle, which is funny because obviously when they played one another, that game was a damn shootout in the NFC Championship game. And it just shows you that you can't do defense all the time. So, to me, it's where probably why I like the Bears in that division more than I like the Packers and the Lions. The Vikings have been the wild card in that division all the way because it all depends on what type of play they get from their quarterback. Pittsburgh, they seem to always get it done defensively, but that defense keeps getting older. There's new coordinators and a new coach there. What are they going to look like? Pittsburgh fan says, well, we always play defense. Yeah, you probably always do. Baltimore with the whole new changes. What are they all about? They lost their nose tackle. That was a big loss to that team. How well does he come back from injury, and where are they? Because that team, when they had a couple injuries on defense, they were not the same team. So talking a little offense, the first segment with Pat, a lot of new coordinators. What's it mean for teams like Philly? And what's it mean for a team like Detroit? Two teams that have high expectations. I'm not as worried about the Detroit offense. I'm not really worried about Phillies from a coordinator standpoint, but I thought Pat brought up an excellent point. Yeah, they replaced A.J. Brown with like 5 guys. None of them are half of A.J. Brown. None of them are a one that you've got to worry about in coverage the way you had to worry about A.J. Brown. So a lot of pressure on everybody top to bottom in Philadelphia. The roster's good enough to handle it. That's another solid defense, really solid. But are you going to be as dominant as you were a year ago? A lot of people think that the Giants are a much better team. They're going to be better coached. We'll see if Dart can make the next step to be better. I'm not worried about Scatterbo and the backflips. I think it's pretty funny. I thought Harbaugh was great. He should have stuck the landing. That's a great response. So, I think, Washington, new coordinators on both sides of the ball. Jaden Daniels, a lot of pressure. Great rookie season. Last year he gets banged up. How does he come back this year? And Dallas, they're going to be able to score with anybody. Many people think that, well, first off, their defense can't get worse in Dallas. We know that. But how much better does it have to be for the Cowboys to actually be a threat in that division? I'm not going beyond that. They got to win a playoff game before we can actually think about them being more than a team that can just contend for a division and be a wild card team. How about win a playoff game? Then maybe we'll have a little respect for you. For Tampa, just how much does getting Bain there help a pass rush that has been non-existent without the blitz for the last, 4 seasons? I mean, that division, said it before. I have no idea who's going to win. I have no idea who's going to finish in last. You could make a case for every single team. So we'll see. Pat said he'd give me as much time as I wanted. I'm going to try to hook up with Pat during the break and see if we can do one more segment with Pat. No David today. Tomorrow will be 20 years for Miller and Moulton. I don't know if we'll have David with us for the show. I'm hopeful that he can suck up whatever energy he has left and give us one more. But it's not my biggest concern with David right now. I'm more concerned with the guy getting some rest and trying to do what he can do, because things have taken a turn in David's fight with cancer. I brought it up earlier in the show. It has not been great these past few days, and unfortunately keeps getting worse. And he's been unable to do the show. He was able to come on Wednesday. He did a couple hours on Monday. He wasn't able to do today. We'll see about tomorrow. Miller and Moulton. Pat's appearance brought to you by Pinchers. Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West, where you can't fake fresh. We'll see. Maybe more with Pat coming up.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Let's see here. Let's get the mic back on. The StreamYard, Pat's on. We're going to do another segment with Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's
Thank
Moving
you.
the Chain, CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show. Good. Thanks for doing this, Pat. We talked during the break. Pat's phone overheated while he was outside. We were talking a little defensive coordinators and defenses. I'm curious what you think about, I asked you who the three best defenses were. You mentioned Denver, you mentioned Seattle, you mentioned LA from a pass rush standpoint. I mean, obviously from a total defense, we got to put Houston in there. And I think they're at the top of the list.
I love Houston's defense. They are fine as far as I can see. And they are, I have them ranked on the pass rush stuff. They're ranked third. So no embarrassment there. They're in very good shape. But, you would think with that defense last year, they would have had more than 47 sacks. And considering all the teams that had more, you realize there's more to get there. And there's more to happen. I think they're doing a good job of filling up the roster and getting a couple of extra guys in there. They brought in a Robinson from Chicago, and they brought in Logan Hall from Tampa. Good backup guys, have a little pass rush in them, but can play the run. So they are not sitting still going, wow, we're great. They're trying to build some more out on this thing. So pretty excited for Houston. Here's Houston's issue. The offense, if the offense will play the way they did when the kid was a rookie, the quarterback Stroud, guess what? Their opponents will turn into one-dimensional teams, and then they can really pile on the pass rush stuff. That they need a little help from the offense to take the big quantum leap. What we love are the two outside guys, the pass rushers. The rest of it's got to be as good. Can they win? Here's a question for you, Mark. Which defense is good enough to win the game if the offense doesn't show up? In a league where the offensive rules are just hard to handle. But to me, Houston looks like a team that could win when the offense doesn't show up. And I think you can't say that for more than 5 or 6 teams in this league.
Well, let me put you to that one on the Patriots then, because they think their offense has gotten much better. The addition of A.J. Brown, they fortified their offensive line. Drake May another year. Like I'm picking the Patriots to miss the playoffs. I think they're like a 9-win team. I think schedule helped them. And I don't know that they've got a couple of good running backs. So I could be dead wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. But are the Patriots, who relied on the defense mostly last year, has that offense improved enough to be one of those teams that their offense can win if the defense doesn't show?
I think so. I kind of see them as a wild card, and I think Buffalo will get a bounce back from Josh Allen and the boys and win that division. But I think double-digit wins is in order for the New England Patriots. I think Drake May is really emerging into something special. That's the first part of it. I do think putting Brown on the field, their receiver room's pretty good. I like the running backs. They got 2 of them that can really go, and the offensive line is not bad. So I do think they're capable of 10 wins. But your point, which kind of sets up for the Denver as well, you didn't have a first-place schedule last year. Now you're in a first-place schedule, and that's a big difference when you start looking at what you're up against schedule-wise. So, yeah, knock them down a game or 2, but still be in the playoffs. Drake May is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the next couple of years.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then I'm dead wrong. I mean, there's no doubt. Can Nix be that guy? I mean, there's a lot. He had a good year last year. I don't know. I don't think Sean's given up the play calling for long, personally. Can Nix be that guy? Because they went out and got Waddle. I think that offense is better. That defense is elite. We both think if they have Nix, they're playing in the Super Bowl. So where does Nix go this year?
He's athletic enough, and Sean really knows how to play to his skills. I thought they'd go to this. If he played in that game against New England for the championship, they would have won, in my opinion, and gone to the Super Bowl. I like them. I like Bo Nix. I think I've talked to Sean about it. Sean understands how to play to the kid's strengths, and he went out and got him another elite receiver. So you go look at that receiver room. They're pretty darn good. And I like their offensive line. Go look at that line. How many offensive lines? I'll probably work on the offensive lines this week to get a top 5 offensive lines groups, but they're going to be in it for sure.
Okay. Chicago.
I like the Bears in that division.
We started our show
while
18
back.
years
Whoa,
ago and have
whoa,
been
whoa,
fired three
whoa,
times,
whoa,
but
whoa.
Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever, are steadily adding affiliates.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with
there
sleep
we go.
apnea.
Now, right, things just start firing today. It's one of those days. You know, David's laughing somewhere at me right now because what can go wrong is going wrong, and that's quite all right. We'll get through it. All right, Chicago. I thought they've made the best offseason moves in that division. I didn't like what the Packers did compared to the Bears. I didn't like what Detroit did compared to the Bears. So when you look at the Bears, obviously Ben Johnson, another year with Caleb, I think that's a big deal. But do they have both sides of the ball? Because I love their offense. Is the defense good enough?
I don't think so. And I think that they are an interesting team and that they could be causing their own problems. Caleb and the boys start scoring, and they will. You're forcing your opponents into passing teams, and you tell me about that pass rush from those guys. And there's a couple guys on the D line that are kind of old. I think the defense is still a problem, and you have a division that everyone had a winning record. And I noticed you didn't mention Minnesota, and half the time I don't either. But I do think there's enough problems there where I think Chicago, another team that's got to play a first-place schedule.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, Minnesota's the wild card in that division. I mean, if they get competent quarterback play, that's a good roster, Pat.
Yeah, it's a good roster, is right. And I like them. I like Caleb. But here's the point I made. You can shoot a hole in it. When Caleb did what he did last year and got as far as he did, that happened to us with other young quarterbacks. And I remember every one of us on the defensive staff, when I was on defense, we got assigned a quarterback and a team. And we had to spend the whole offseason, every waking moment when we weren't doing our chores there, working on those guys, calling coaches that played against them, looking at defense in a different way. Every play that Caleb faced last year that caused a struggle, people studied those. We have to give these opposing defenses more credit. They are not going to sit back and let Caleb become a superstar without causing some problems for him. And I think you're going to see people in that division, starting with the division, coming up with more interesting ways to play Caleb. And I think the head coach in Chicago has basically talked about Caleb. You know, creating on the fly is great, and he looks athletic doing it, but he also has some. I watched a game with them the other day. He has some irregular throws when he's off his feet, if you will, just like we were talking on the break about playing on one foot sometimes.
No,
I think it's going to be harder.
I think it is
Chicago's
too.
going to have some problem.
I think it is too. I just have a lot of faith in his head coach of getting him to because I think there's more there. I guess that's where I would. My pushback would be is that I think there's more for Caleb. I think he has such a great room for improvement that if he can make that next step, well, I good luck with the defensive coordinators trying to slow him down, because I think the weapons are there, and if he can improve, I love that offense.
I do, but they're going to have a lot of pressure on him to support the defense. We start looking at things like, yes, about Bo Nix. Look at the defense he's got working for him. Look at C.J. Stroud's defense. So and look at the Ram defense for the old man, Matt Stafford. So I don't see the defense. Now, you could make a case, well, what defense in the division do you like? Minnesota last year, not a bad job by those guys getting after quarterbacks. So
but they lost both D tackles, right? I mean, Minnesota lost two guys on the interior. That defense took a step back to me.
They did, and they're relying on some rookies to get in there and do it for them. And maybe that won't happen. But here's what I say about Minnesota. One more shot on those guys. I'm not a fan of Kyler Murray. So let me say that first. But I will say that I think he's going to be better than what they had with McCarthy. And with that group of receivers, I think and that head coach, who's also the OC, we're talking about the guy, Ben Johnson. Let's talk about the guy in Minnesota.
Yep.
Pretty darn good coach.
You're darn right.
Would you be surprised if the division went 3-3 with each other?
No, not at all. No, it's the same way I like if somehow Miami or the Jets beat the Bills or the Patriots, that's the difference between a first place team and a wild card team there. I mean, you've got to go 4-0 against those teams.
Yep. And who do you like more, Miami or the Jets?
The Jets.
It's close.
How long has it been? Now, you and I have been around for 20 years together. I don't think I ever got that answer out of you.
No, you're probably right. But here's another fun one for you. Who's going to be the starting quarterback in Atlanta?
I think Tua is going to have to go first. I don't think Pennis will be ready, and that guy's injury prone. Here's the question I've been asking Jake, and I'll ask you. If Tua gets the first go at this thing and they're 3-1, 4-2, how do you take him off the field?
I don't know. The only thing I would say is that you'll end up having to because he'll get hurt.
Yeah, well, the guy behind him gets hurt all the time, too. It's a race for who's injured the most.
Boy, when we talk about starting, don't you think if I were to tell you that 3 different guys start at quarterback in Atlanta, how surprised would you be?
I wouldn't be that surprised, but it's interesting you bring that up because yesterday I did work on teams. 21 teams right now have 4 quarterbacks on their roster. Now we know the 4th guy is getting cut, and you can almost figure out who they are. One team has 5 quarterbacks on the roster, Baltimore. So we're getting down to 3, and most of the thirds really don't excite me very much. So if you get to your 3rd quarterback in this league, and let's look at the guys that if Andy Dalton's your 3rd, you still could probably win a few games.
Right? Can J.J. McCarthy as a 3rd win a game? Because I think he's the 3rd there.
Me too. And I also think if you're truly the 3rd, it won't take long before he's getting no reps at practice and he's running the scout team. And that will set him back. He's not experienced enough to be doing that, but he might have to do it. He might be that way, and they might have to win, and they think they're going to win with the other guys. So I look at a lot of 3rd quarterbacks, because much to my shock, we still have a number of teams in this league that keep 2 quarterbacks. And it's crazy. You got a 3rd guy in the practice squad, but that doesn't help you on game day if 1 and 2 go down.
And some teams don't value the number 2 guy. And we see that all the time. And we've talked about this on this show for a decade, the importance of a backup quarterback. And some teams still don't feel the need to have a strong backup. And it's hard to understand why anymore.
Well, look at Pittsburgh. They have 4. And number 3 and number 4 are draft picks. One of them was there for a year. The other one just came there from Penn State. But they still have Rudolph to handle if Rodgers was to go down. What are they doing? I promise you, every team in the league's looking at them, thinking, what are they going to do? Get rid of Rudolph and keep the 2 kids and be vulnerable at the number 2 spot? Maybe they think they're ready for that. I'm going to their camp, and I'll be there for 1, 2, 3 practices and a scrimmage. So I'll get a much better sense of their quarterback room. But there's one team that everyone's looking at. What do you do with that 4th quarterback, and what's the 3rd quarterback look like? So we'll see where they go. I bet you Rudolph you get something for Rudolph if you're a team that needs a number 2.
That's a great call. And they, a year ago, they liked the rookie out of Ohio State. Now they drafted another one. So that's a fascinating quarterback room to head into training camp. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show. Pat, I'm hoping like hell I got my sidekick with me tomorrow. I don't know if I will, but thank you for everything you brought this show.
Oh, I love this show and love the way you guys. The first day I realized I want to hang out with them as long as I can. The questions are great. The conversations are great. And I might call in tomorrow as Pat from Florida to celebrate the 20 years.
You know, I answer the call every time you make it. Pat, thanks for doing an extra segment with me today. I really appreciate it. I know you're watching the grandson play a little high school football, so thanks for taking some extra time, man. You know how much I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right.
Anytime, Mark. Take care.
Be well. Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show. Pat gave me 3 segments today, courtesy of the good folks at Pinchers. Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers where you cannot fake fresh. We've reset the board. We've had commercials go off in the middle of the show. We've had technical difficulties. I've not had my co-host. I had a backup co-host leave. This has been a hell of a 3 hours. I've got to be honest with you. But we've still got an hour to go in Tampa and Jacksonville, and we'll get you through that. Some other things that are going on in the sports world. We may even talk a little baseball. Big day yesterday as the Red Sox tied a franchise record with their 15th straight win, but the damn doubleheader, they had to play 2, and they couldn't get through the second game when Baltimore snapped their 15-game winning streak. They went from a team that was a seller to a team right now that's a wild card team. The Rays have won 3 in a row. Yankees split with the Pirates yesterday. A lot still going on in the baseball world as we're just inside of 2 weeks from the trade deadline in Major League Baseball coming on August the 3rd. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks so much for listening.
We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times, but Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever, are steadily adding affiliates, yet we only have a few sponsors. And if that doesn't change, we can't continue. But if you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or contact Mark on X at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000 now.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think it depends on who drafts first, Sonny. I really do. I don't think the Dolphins would take him, although they might be wise to. And if Malik's their guy, they could. The Jets would take a quarterback. Arizona would take a quarterback. Cleveland, who knows what the hell they would do? They might take a defensive lineman, for God's sakes. If the Raiders suck, they would. I mean, tell me who's picking first, and then I'll tell you. But I think there's a shot. I think there are 2 or 3 teams that might take him. And I've seen that out there, so I'm not the only one that's thought that.
Oh, there's no question. There's no he might have been last year, Sonny. But if you're I know everybody's down on Arch Manning. Let's just say Arch Manning is the guy he was the last 5 games, which was actually pretty good. People forget. Let's just say he has a year where he continues to improve. And you're the Jets, you're the Dolphins, you're the Cardinals. Are you going quarterback or are you going great receiver? No. No, he's not, and that's correct. Here locally, ABC 7, I couldn't tell you what the call letters are.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, the Pro Hour. Hello, Jacksonville. Hello, Tampa. I actually apologize to Jacksonville and Tampa. We did an hour with Pat, and I didn't bring up either franchise. Which one, in your estimation, has more pressure on them heading into the season? Because they are both in interesting spots. The Bucs have a head coach that's on the hot seat. If he doesn't make the playoffs, he's fired. We all know that going into the year. Big change in Tampa. Key guy on both sides of the ball gone. Fan favorite on both sides of the ball gone. This is clearly Baker Mayfield's team now. There's a bit of a void in talent. I mean, when you lose a Mike Evans, you're expecting guys to really pick up. Ibuka's very good. Can Godwin stay healthy, for crying out loud? Will the running game be able to do what it needs to do? I like the pickup they made with Gainwell. I mean, a lot of people like where their offense is right now. But can a rookie come in and do what they've not been able to get? And that's obviously in Bain. You have a linebacking core that's obviously changed incredibly. Can Cansey stay healthy? I mean, their defense, when you look at it up front, healthy. Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea, Ruben Bain. I mean, that seems pretty good. Offensively, Gainwell and Bucky Irving in the backfield, I like that. I don't know. I mean, McMillan's not Evans, but I mean, Ibuka, McMillan, Godwin, that's a decent receiving core. I love the way Ibuka played last year, but when he had to be relied upon to be the one, he wasn't there yet. I think he'll get better. Their offensive line is when healthy, it's elite. So when I look at the Bucks, I like what I see on paper. But can they get to a quarterback without blitzing? And can really and truly, can this defense perform? I don't know. The division's weak. I think they're the best team in the division, but I thought that last year, and they managed to blow games that they should have never lost, and they missed the playoffs. Yeah, there were a lot of injuries. There were a lot of things that went wrong, but other teams have those same problems, and you didn't have to win but 9 games to get to the playoffs, and you couldn't do it. So when I look at Tampa and Todd Bowles, I see a tremendous amount of pressure, the biggest kind. Win or you're fired. Is there any greater pressure than that? Jacksonville's pressure's different. No one's getting fired if they happen to have a bad season. Liam Cohn's not going anywhere. Trevor Lawrence is just stepping into this big contract. He's not going anywhere. But they thought they were the smartest team in the room at the draft. And people who cover the draft for a living thought it was an awful draft. They seem pretty set with who their players are. And drafted really for depth in the future. Well, they won 13 games. I mean, can't take away from the fact that they won the division. They were the best team and what was a pretty good division. But now with that, you play a first place schedule. I mean, they go to Denver week 2 of the season. Their first 2 road games are against Denver and Cincinnati. They play Denver, New England, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Houston, all before the bye. Cleveland's also in there. So right now, if you're Jacksonville, Cleveland, New England, Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is in London, so is Houston. So you've got 2 home games, 2 London games, 2 road games. Jacksonville, if I give you 3-3 right now, you should run to sign up for that. When you start picking teams who, every year we go through teams who made the playoffs who won't make it the next season. Happens every year. So I'm just curious if I went out there and said New England wouldn't make the playoffs. I'm wondering if Jacksonville's a team, if they go from 13-4 to 9-7, that's a 4-game difference. That usually isn't good enough. They were terrific in turnover margin last year. Tough to do that in back-to-back years. If I were to just ask you, most likely to miss the playoffs, New England or Jacksonville, who would you take? In fact, if we put it up as Jacksonville, New England, both make the playoffs, both miss the playoffs, Jacksonville makes, New England makes, where would you vote? Because I think both of them are wild card teams at best. I would like to be proven wrong, particularly on Jacksonville's account. So I do apologize for not getting into this more with Pat, but trust me, we've got time. We'll talk about both before the season starts. We're about ready to start loading Pat up twice a week and being able to talk a lot of NFL with him. But we've talked about this, David and I've mentioned it many times, that this, Jacksonville's not been good at back-to-back strong seasons. They've given us really good, and then, well, it slipped away. So if Liam Cohen and this group are for real, doesn't Jacksonville have to figure out a way to get to 10 and make the postseason? Isn't anything less than that a disappointment? I didn't like the fact that they got rid of the running back at all.
if there's a, I'm concerned with that part of the team. I love their receivers. Their offensive line's average. I don't think it's great, but it's not bad. I'd love them to have one more pass rusher. I would. But defensively, they were great at turning over the ball. Hunter's going to be back all year this year. That should make a big difference. He's not playing offense. He's a corner. You gave up a lot to get a corner. He needs to be a shutdown corner for 5 years because they've already said he's not playing much offense this year. There'll be a package or two for him. Love getting the ball in his hands. I actually think they should be looking at him as a punt returner as well, or a kick returner. I mean, I want to get the ball in his hands more. And if he's not going to play offensive lot, how can I use a weapon? That's what I would think. Teams don't do that as much anymore. I'd be leaning that way. But man, oh man, that Jag schedule. That 6 weeks before the bye. 2 in London, 2 road, 2 home. That's difficult. And it's no picnic after that, but it's difficult to start. So that first place schedule, the crossover divisions that they're playing, this is no picnic. They get the AFC North, they get Cleveland, but everybody else at least is solid. I don't know if they're great. I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to be. But when you look to find 5 new playoff teams, where are you going? Because to me, I look at Pittsburgh. I think they're a team that misses the playoffs. I've said New England. On the NFC side, probably Carolina would be my first lean. Can San Francisco do it again? San Francisco and Seattle. I mentioned Alabama earlier in the show. That Alabama is in a very interesting spot in that we're not talking about the Crimson Tide headed into the football season. They're not, I don't want to say they're an afterthought, but they're lying in the weeds more than I ever remember. Well, I don't recall a Super Bowl champ lying in the weeds the way Seattle is, because all of the talk is about the LA Rams in that division and in that conference. They're far and away the favorite. San Francisco, another team that just seems to win double-digit games every damn year. But they've had a lot of turnover. You always worry about McCarthy and his health. So when you're trying to find the 5 new playoff teams, okay, you want to pick Detroit or Minnesota? Sure. You want to pick Tampa over Carolina? Sure. I can tell you teams that I don't think are going to make it. It's tough to find their replacements right now. Is Indianapolis going to spring up? Cincinnati, we always talk about them, but they never deliver. And Kansas City is the easy one because they've got this Patrick Mahomes. But when's he going to be ready to start the year? Is he ready week 1? What have they done about their offensive line and their pass rush? Not a whole hell of a lot. Who's he going to throw the football to? So, Kansas City with Reed and Mahomes, you like to talk about them, but it's hard for me to believe they're more than the 3rd best team in their own division. Roster-wise, whose roster would you take? The Chargers or the Chiefs? The Broncos or the Chiefs? Yes, I would take Mahomes over either quarterback, and we know that that's the X factor. But I'm not sold on the rest of the roster, and I don't know how you can be, given what we saw from it after Mahomes went down. Not that we expected the backup to go there and win a bunch of games, but it did show more of their flaws, their weaknesses. So when I look at the Chiefs, I have trouble seeing them being the turnaround team. I put it this way. I see Indianapolis and Cincinnati having a better shot than Kansas City with what they lost and how they didn't replace it. So we're getting there. 48 days away from the start of the NFL season. Tomorrow, hoping for the Miller and Moulton 20th anniversary show. I've got a couple of things lined up. I'll light up a few more during the day. Gary Danielson expected to join us. A couple of surprises that I want to spring on David as long as he's doing the show with me. And that would be everything. But right now we can't count on it. As I've mentioned several times in the show, Just asking for your prayers, for your positive vibes, for your good thoughts for my co-host. Things are not going well in David's world. He's missed some days. He's in a lot of pain. I'm hoping that they get that as good as they can and that this is a blip and that things get better quickly. But it's very wishful thinking, to say the least. Today was the day when the good, the bad, and the ugly. What's on tap? All ahead. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing.
I think that's right, Tim. I do think that's right. WZVN sounds right. Well, there was a time we knew those things. That was the identity of every damn channel for a long time. And then we went to, Action News this and blah, 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 that. I got you. David's X account was hacked, and then I don't know, you know David in technology. He said he did what he was supposed to do to get it back, and they didn't help, and he got mad and basically gave up. So
If there is, Mello, I don't know how. I got to be honest. I got so much crap going on right now. I wish I could pay better attention to the website. I'm barely aware that we have one. I don't even know what's on the damn thing. I can ask the guy that runs it. I got a 24-page document of shit I need to fix on it. I asked for some advice, and boy, did I get it. And I'm like, mother of pearl. I'm just doing my best to try to keep us on the air right now. I mean, no offense. I need a sponsor more than I need the ability to leave David a note. And I know that sounds shallow and shitty, but that's where we are right now. I apologize. No. It's not stress. I'm only one guy, and we only have, and it's really been me flying solo for 6 to 8 months on this show. I mean, I'm literally doing everything. It just is what it is, and I'm okay with that.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Hoping to have my guy back tomorrow. Don't know what to tell you. I don't know if it's wishful thinking or not. I got to say, little news happening sports-wise here in the last, 15 or so minutes. I caught it last segment and was talking football, so I thought I'd wait till this segment to talk about it. But Patrick Kane is going back to Chicago. There was a lot of talk of where the free agent winger would end up. I was certain it wasn't going to be Detroit, but there was talk maybe he'd go to his hometown of Buffalo, but he goes back to Chicago, where Showtime was great and teams up with Connor Bedard and will provide absolutely no defense, no back checking at all to the Chicago Blackhawks. He'll score some power play goals. He'll be great in shootouts. At this point in his career, I don't know how much he gives them, and the fact that they signed him for 2 years at $8 schmil a year, okay. I mean, they're a bad team, and they don't look like they're getting much better, and they've got a young superstar on their team. The league's better when the Blackhawks are good. It is. But I don't know how much better Patrick Kane going to Chicago makes them. But $8 million a year, I understand why he's going, and a 2-year deal. Because I don't think, Detroit wasn't even giving him 2-year deals. They kept giving him 1-year deals and renewing them. But the fact that Chicago's giving him 2 is, I have to be honest, I'm very surprised by that. And good for Patrick Kane to get the deal. I don't think this is a great deal for Chicago. I don't. But hey, he's yours. He's your guy. You love him. And he's now back with the Blackhawks. He started playing in the league in 2008. Or 2007, actually. Patrick Kane's played 1,369 games. He spent 16 years in Chicago. He's a Hall of Famer. Make no mistake. He was a one-time great player. He's okay now.
He's good offensively. He never brought much to the table defensively to begin with. But he'll go to Chicago. He will turn 38 this season. Former first overall pick in the 2007 entry draft. Went right to the league. Has been pretty damn good for a long time. I mean, scored 20-plus goals in his rookie season. In fact, there's only been 2 times in his career that he's had less than 20 goals. One of them was last year. So 1 year, sure. 2 years, doesn't make sense to me. But he obviously helped dictate this. But Kane goes back to Chicago with the Blackhawks. So you got the young Connor Bedard and the old Patrick Kane on the same ice together. Don't know when Bedard's going to be healthy. He had some offseason issues. And we'll see on Connor Bedard heading into next year. But I'm not expecting a whole hell of a lot out of the Blackhawks. But Kane goes back to Chicago. So there's that. Lane Kiffin took the stage at SEC Media Days. Lane apparently got rid of all of his social media accounts. Challenge from his kid. Said it's refreshing. I wouldn't know. I'd like to. I'm curious how many of you have just dumped that were on it and used it and said, I can't do this anymore. Because I would like to. I feel like I have to have it for what I do. I mean, I get a lot of information off of X. The other ones I don't get squat. The other ones I should. I went off of Facebook for a long time. I use it sparingly now. Instagram's never been my thing, and I know most of you are on that. And TikTok, I have a genuine problem with. Like, the first step of knowing you have a problem is admitting you having a problem. I'm on TikTok way too much. I go down dark holes, whether it's cooking or music. It's never sports. It's really cooking, music, or the occasional cat video. So Lane says he's off of social. Probably a good idea, at least until after the Ole Miss game, 3rd week of the season. LSU at Ole Miss. LSU has a fascinating schedule because I could see a world where they're favored in every game they're played. You know, just talking during the break to some people that helped me book the show about getting Phil Steele on. Phil Steele has LSU 7th in the conference. 7th. They're at Ole Miss. That game will be close, but I think LSU will be favored. They host A&M. I think they're for sure favored in that. They play at Auburn. I think they'll be favored. They host Alabama and Texas. Depending on where LSU is on November 14th, that's when they play Texas. Texas could be favored in that game. But if they beat Alabama, if they beat Ole Miss in Alabama, then they're undefeated playing Texas. I really believe that. I don't think they're losing at Auburn. I don't think they're losing to Clemson. And then they go to Tennessee. Remember, the folks in Rocky Top don't like Lane that much either. So Lane this year goes to Ole Miss and to Tennessee. My goodness, is that good for college football? I mean, Lane, for the record, he's got to win, okay? Granted, he's got to get the natty. But isn't he just a younger version of Spurrier? Great offensive mind. But again, Florida fan, don't yell at me. He ain't won like Spurrier won, okay? I get it. He's got to finish that part of it. But from the attitude, from the way he does interviews, his whole persona, isn't he the new Spurrier? And isn't, like, even if you hate Lane, don't you have to admit he's great for college football? And of all the places for someone like that to be at, it would have been great if he'd have taken the job in Gainesville. It would have. But LSU is a pretty good spot because, at least me, when I think of LSU, and the state of Louisiana and the city of New Orleans, and I know they're in Baton Rouge. I'm not a moron. But I remember when I worked in minor league hockey and New Orleans had just started a team. And we played in New Orleans. And I'm in the media room before the game, going over media notes, getting a great media meal. Holy cow, is it good? I mean, it's New Orleans after all. And I get introduced to the mayor. The GM of the team knew me, and he introduced me to the mayor. It was the mayor that ended up being corrupt. So I immediately associate everything with New Orleans as being a little corrupt. And then the crap the governor said in Louisiana, I kind of think that Louisiana really, it's not the Wild West, it's the Bayou. And it is, they just do stuff differently there. So Lane does stuff differently too. And I think he's perfect there. Louisiana, we don't care about education, but we care about college football. We can't afford any public schools, but we can afford $50 million for our football team. I mean, everything about that for Lane is perfect. Like Brian Kelly wasn't perfect there. It didn't work. It really didn't. So I want Lane to succeed at LSU. I do. I like Lane. I like the character that he is. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a really good coach. But in all, I think he's great for college football. And we need that. I like Summerall yesterday getting on the guy about his phone going off, said he'd throw him out of a team meeting. Vanilla doesn't work for me. I need some flavor. And Lane certainly brings it. The good, the bad, and the ugly next.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thank you, Javier. Daughter and I are making sauce today. Sausage, meatballs, and sauce. That's my day. Although we're not going to start for a while because I just realized I didn't take out the hamburger. No, I can't, Sonny. Oh, I haven't watched the news in at least 10 years.
The news is ridiculous. My wife watched last night, and I don't know what channel, and I'm not even gonna say because one of the stations we're on is owned by a bunch of TV stations. So, but she watched because of that whole standoff on I-75 because she was in traffic for like 2 hours yesterday trying to get my daughter to gymnastics, and because she saw a bunch of video on Facebook, I did too. So the video on Facebook was incredible that Wink News had. It was fantastic. I mean, you heard the shootout, and then apparently whatever station she watched, like they interviewed two women who said they were late for work. It's like, who cares? Who cares? Yeah, there was one where you could hear a lot of the pop, pop, pop. Apparently another one, and I don't know who had it because I didn't see it. I was told this, where you heard the officer said, we can end this peaceful. No one has to get hurt here. Just come out or something like that. And then pop, 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 pop. And then they sent the dog in, and apparently they took him into custody. Apparently he killed it was a domestic dispute, and he killed the person that he attacked. So unfortunately, to me, I mean, that's an eye for an eye. If they'd have taken him down, it'd have saved everybody a lot of money. Yeah, they had I-75. They were shooting people off yesterday at Immokalee coming north, apparently, even though, I mean, they didn't even let them get to Bonita Beach Road, which makes no sense. But when I came home, it said it was closed at Daniels. It may have moved to Alico. We jumped off at Colonial coming back from Tampa and took tree line, and we're bumper to bumper, had to wait 3 light cycles just to get through Daniels, and then we're bumper to bumper all the way past Alico. It was awful. Took me 50 minutes to go the last 8 miles of my trip. Whatever. It's over. Don't get a lot of I-75 shootouts in Southwest Florida. That's a new one for me. I mean, since I've been here, I don't recall an I-75 shootout. I don't recall like a public type thing like that really ever. I'm sure there have been some in some, neighborhoods with things going on, obviously, but I don't recall anything like that before. And I've been here since 98. So, I mean, that's big city stuff. That's not our little town. Oh, Javier, I shouldn't laugh. It's still a good line. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, there's been a bunch of people that have been shot down here. But I mean, literally, you go find that video and listen to the pop, 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 pop. I don't, first off, to see it on social media with a news organization attached is just bizarre to me. But I mean, it's good news job by them. Give Wink News all the credit in the world for getting that video up. That's great. I remember meeting the one girl when I was actually single that was the swamp buggy racer there. She was a character.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, David is off today. I am hoping and praying that I get my guy back. We'll see. I've got no new news. I've talked about it a bunch of times already. And all I can ask, I'll say it again, would hope that you can offer your good thoughts, your prayers, your well wishes, good vibes, whatever it is you want to give them to David because he needs them. With that being said, time to do my job, which is this.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
So this first one was so for David. And you've heard me give the French a hard time for probably 20 years. Well, here's why David's defended them. Because it was today in 1777 that King Louis XVI and his foreign minister clandestinely agree to supply the U.S. with munitions during the American Revolution. Without them, we don't win. There's just no doubt about it. Two huge things happened today for our armed forces or our army in the revolution. That was one. Two, Polish military leader Kazimierz Pulaski arrives in Massachusetts to volunteer for the Continental Army. Now you know why Pulaski Hall's in every town in the Midwest. They used to have school dances or teen dances at Pulaski Hall in Saginaw, for what it's worth. 1829, William Burt patents the first typewriter. 1866, the Cincinnati Baseball Club forms. Happy birthday to the Red Stockings. We jump 100 years to 1966, when Sinatra's album Strangers in the Night hits #1 on the charts. It would win a Grammy for Record of the Year and Best Male Vocal Performance. Today in 73, Nixon refuses to hand over his tapes to the Senate Watergate Committee, citing executive privilege, kicked off a legal battle that ended up in the Supreme Court and a unanimous ruling 1 year later that Nixon must hand over the tapes. Today in 1984, 21-year-old Vanessa Williams gives up her Miss America title because Penthouse announces plans to publish nude photos of the beauty queen. She was the first black woman to win the Miss America crown. Suzette Charles, the first runner-up, who was also African American, she took over when Williams resigned the title, had to give up her tiara. Ooh, that's tough. Today was the breakthrough. I mentioned it, I think, Monday, or maybe it was I don't know. Mentioned it earlier this week. GNR in 87 released Appetite for Destruction, but it was today in 88, or in 87 they released it. Today in 88, GNR made their breakthrough when Sweet Child of Mine entered the top 40. I had seen them, I want to say, about a month prior to this. They had not yet hit. Still the best concert I've ever seen. They were raw, they were spectacular, and was on the bar and GA, seating, if you will, standing at the Saginaw Civic Center. They were amazing. All their swagger. Today in 1995, John Daly wins his second major, winning the British Open at St. Andrews, beating Constantino Rocca of Italy in a playoff. Today in 96, at the Summer Games in Atlanta, the U.S. women's gymnastics team wins their first ever team gold medal. Tiger wins by 8 in 2000 at St. Andrews. That's his first British. He was the youngest player at 24 to win all 4 majors at that time. Tiger won his second consecutive British and third overall today in 06 at Royal Liverpool, beating DeMarco by 2 shots. It was today in 2011 that Amy Winehouse joined that eerie 27 club. She was found dead in her London apartment today. And in 2017, Jordan Spieth at Royal Birkdale wins the British Open, beating Matt Kuchar by 3. Pee Wee Reese and Don Drysdale, a couple of Dodgers. Calvert DeForest, you may know him as Larry Bud Melman. Rick Jenneret, the great announcer for the Buffalo Sabres. and Philip Seymour Hoffman would have all celebrated birthdays today. Woody Harrelson is 65. Fort Myers resident, LPGA pro, Terry Jo Myers. I've never met her. My dad played golf with her a bunch. Could not ever say enough kind words about how great she was. Terry Jo's 64. Slash from GNR is 61. Gary Payton, the glove, 58. Allison Krauss, who's teamed up with Robert Plant, done some great stuff, bluegrass singer. She's 55. Monica Lewinsky and Noma Garcia Parra, they're both 53. Hooper Brandon Roy's 42. Golfer Harris English, 37. Tehran Armstead's 35. Sam Burns, who had the lead at the British, is 30. And DeAndre Ayton is 28 years old today. This is where I asked David what I missed, but he ain't here to ask, man.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Let's see. For the good, we go to the Friendly Skies United, who has issued a new policy that I think most of you are going to love. They have added to their rules policy for passengers new headphone language. Passengers must wear headphones if listening to anything on their phones or other devices. Seemed like that's obvious. I can't imagine flying and someone watching a movie with sound. I literally can't, but people do. Apparently, this is conjunction with a rollout of Starlink's new in-flight Wi-Fi on 300 of their aircrafts. An additional 500 aircrafts will have it by the end of the year. For the bad, we go to Mount Dora. Not Dora the Explorer, but Mount Dora in Florida, where residents are being cautioned to stay away from monkeys after multiple sightings of monkeys in the area. Officials emphasizing the importance of keeping a safe distance. A woman shared a video earlier this week of an area behind the library, and there have been other reports of monkey sightings. Now they think it may just be one monkey that's been spotted multiple times. They say don't spank it, stay away. And finally, the ugly. This is scary to me. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of clowns. And I'm not really a big fan of the circus. But in Kissimmee, starting in September, the Fear Circus Unleashed will perform. It is a horror circus filled with sinister clowns, aerialists, and chainsaws. The 90-minute production combines immersive theater with aerial acrobats, contortionists, and other live circus performers presented in a horror setting. I'm not joking when I tell you that might be my worst nightmare right there. Heights or that. I think I might walk over the Skyway Bridge before I'd be in a room with horrific clowns and contortionists. I don't know. It's close. And that, my friends, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, July the 23rd, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great pay, new jobs, other than police officers as well. CapeCops.com. Where else? CapeCops.com. That's where you go for all of your information on that. All right. Today, baseball, Braves and Padres with a mighty nooner as they finish up their series. Twins and Guardians play a 1 o'clock game. The Rays and Jays finish their 4-game set this afternoon. Diamondbacks and Cardinals at 5. The Tigers host the Royals to start a series this evening. That's it. That's all we got. 5 baseball games today in Major League Baseball. The PGA Tour, they've already started. They're at the 3M in the Twin Cities. Scheffler's playing. and he is 1 under through 4. Vince Whaley, the 181st player in the world, right now is leading. He's 4 under par through 8 holes to play. The British Senior Open is going on as well. Fort Myers' own George McNeil playing in that tournament as they are across the pond for the Senior Open. George shot a 2 over par, I believe 74 today. He is tied for 76, 7 under, leading the tournament. Cameron Percy, your leader. Ernie Els in second place with a group of players at 5 under par. So George has got to get his act together if he wants to play on the weekend. So that's the golf news that's going on. Already mentioned Patrick Kane signing with Chicago today, a 2-year deal for the future Hall of Famer. Just one game going on. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. That's nothing. Nothing in the WNBA. They're at their All-Star weekend. So I guess you can check that out if you would like. Tomorrow, I honestly can tell you I've got no idea what we're doing. It was supposed to be a very celebratory, great day. I have no idea what it's going to be. I will have a couple of surprises. I don't know if they're worth having if we don't have David, because I don't know what the status is for my co-host at this point. I should hear something soon. Gary Danielson expected to join us. I had made arrangements to have a couple of old producers, Felipe and John Cassio, join us. Trent, with what's going on, I thought maybe he'd co-host if David can't. I don't even know if that's going to happen. Got to be really honest. We are in a lot of moving parts right now. It's what they call a very fluid situation in a lot of different ways. So we will. I will try probably to hook up with Matt Baker again and talk some college football. Might even get Roy Cummings to tell some stories. We'll do our best to make tomorrow a celebratory day, but I don't know. To be really honest, I don't know if that's possible with everything that's going on. I don't. David's in rough shape. There's no other way to explain it. Trying to be as honest with the audience as I humanly can be today. And I'm worried about my co-host. That's the easiest way to say it. I'm very worried. This is not good. This is gotten worse far more quickly than any of us expected. I'm thinking about him. I'm thinking about his wife. I'm thinking about his daughter and what they must be going through today. I talked to David Sampson, was trying to get him on the show tomorrow. David just lost his daughter from cancer, and he left the country today. He's going to hike in a mountain in Portugal. And I'm like, I can't say I blame you, because if I had the means and what happened to me happened to David Sampson, I think I'd want to leave for a while too. So a lot going on. Unfortunately, sometimes life isn't good. We've been very fortunate to have one hell of a run together. I don't know if it's going to continue. I really don't. And that sucks. I can tell you this, I'm going to do everything to continue. We're going to keep the show going. I'm not ready for it to end. And quite frankly, if I am, I'm going to need a job. So there's that as well. So that's what we got. A little baseball today, seeing if the Rays can close out the Jays. And, well, we're closing in on what? 11 days till the trade deadline in baseball. Haven't really been any moves yet. Couple of little small things here and there. The Dodgers got a relief arm. I think there was one other trade made, but nothing big's going to happen. And we'll see, for instance, as much as Detroit keeps winning, they're not going to move Skubal. So yesterday coming back for Detroit was big. Now they've got a series with Kansas City, a team they should be beat up on. Now that Witt's on the IL as well, there's not much there. So they should keep on keeping on. The Marlins are the team that scares me. They've lost 9 in a row. They got to fix this. This day, talk about a team that needed a day off. The Marlins needed a day off. We'll figure out what the hell we're doing tomorrow. I'll post it on X in the morning, and I'll be here at 6 o'clock one way or another. Miller and Moulton? Hell, I don't even know what we're going to name the show after that. I mean, there's a lot of things. It's a very fluid situation. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks.
We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times, but Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever, are steadily adding affiliates, yet we only have a few sponsors. And if that doesn't change, we can't continue. But if you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or contact Mark on X at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton